It is 6 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Billy Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, center. Well, and, most of the time pretty crazy, but it's a beautiful day in the greatest country in history, and we're gearing up for a whole hour show, 4 hours of compelling content, news, and analysis, everything you need to kick off your week here on 710 KNUS, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab your coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. We've got a whole lot of news to cover, including updates on the assassination attempt against Donald Trump and the communication breakdown that took place with the Secret Service. Plus, the Tina Peters trial continues. What happened last week? We're going to get some updates on that trial as well. And then Pete Boyles joins us from Sturgis, Billy.
Yeah, he visited the Hodge.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I've never been there. Look, we all know I'm Colorado's version of Mike Pence. So imagine Mike Pence going to Sturgis. Yeah. And that's what it would look like for me to be there.
I've been through there on a road trip, but not during the bike week type stuff. So I haven't been there during that craziness, but I have friends that are up there. I've got, there are some friends that are up there right now. Someone plays in a popular Colorado band that's doing some gigs up there. Some other people I know, someone that does some bartending that is headed up there because, oh boy, can you make a lot of money. They need a lot of extra bartenders.
A lot of people up there?
Yeah, there are a lot. And it's funny, they bring in external bartenders. And this gal's been going for a number of years. And so she just goes up there and makes extra money for a couple of weeks and then comes back. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
And Sturgis is a city, huh?
Yeah, tiny little city. In fact, though, it's getting more and more popular with the retiring boomers. And all of a sudden, the housing prices,
riders,
cow. And the prices of the housing are really, really increasing. Given that it is Sturgis, there's nothing else. Yeah, it's just like one weekend of the year, so that's it. Yeah, so it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, it's really weird to see housing costs there going up. But Pete's going to join us, and his merry band of brothers are going to join us at 9:00. So whoever is up and awake at the time, it'll be cool.
So the population of Sturgis is 7,000 people, and it goes from 7,000 to 500,000.
That's crazy. The part is wild. The part is finding a parking space, and there are even YouTube channels.
Motorcycle. It's like the only place that you can park.
Oh, exactly. And I was watching. There was a YouTube channel this weekend, and just because Pete's there, I was watching, and it was just it's just a YouTube shot. Someone put up a camera to just see the street. And so you just see the bikers going by, and you get to see down the street and all the bikes parked on either side. And there was, and so it's just kind of a neat flavor of what the city's doing. There's nothing, crazy. It's, they're not showing you anything weird or anything else. It's just a matter of, hey, this is how busy the city is right now. It's kind of cool.
That is cool. Yeah. Well, I love Pete, man. And to be able to get an update from Sturgis is going to be so
it's going to be awesome.
So I appreciate he's taking some time.
Friend of the show, and friend of mine, Ken Clark, does traffic over on Fox and Channel 2, working over there. He went up to Sturgis years and years ago, and he knew immediately when he came back, he had to make a change because he was riding the wrong motorcycle.
I'm sure they let you hear about it.
Oh, yes, did they ever? Yeah. He's a motorcycle enthusiast, and he had been fixing up, an older one for a while. But the one that worked was his Japanese speed bike. So that's what he rode up there. And he said, and that's also a pain because that is not a bike that is meant for riding long distances, hours and hours, because how you're hunched over. He said it was awful as far as getting there and back. He said, but he goes, people weren't mean about it all the side looks and all the comments he had about your baby bike and a bunch of other stuff. He goes, he broke down. He had a Harley the next time he went. So and that's smart. He still does have a Harley.
Isn't that like what a bike
used to be? You used to, but not anymore. Not anymore because they've gotten way too expensive for anybody to knock anything over. Yeah. So, but he proudly rocks a Harley and has been now for over a decade. So, Ken's a strong Harley guy. Yeah. But originally,
I might be an Indian guy. I don't know. I've never ridden one. I like the way they kind of ride.
Oh, Indians are wonderful. I was just told by my wife that until all the kids are out of the house, you cannot get a motorcycle. It was one of those things that, as soon as the first one was born, she's like, well, there go your motorcycle years. I'm like, wait, I didn't even know this is part of the contract. She goes, no, it's part of the contract. Once we have kids, no motorcycle until they're all in a house. I'm like, Okay,
So
fine.
my mother was a nurse,
Yeah.
and she said she would always say they were the organ donors for the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So you're not getting a motorcycle.
Yeah. I always tell my kids that it's great, but understand that even if the car is completely wrong, you still lose. So it's very
Yes,
dangerous.
exactly.
You have
That's
to be
exactly
so
right.
aware out there because some other person cannot be paying attention at all. And the other part is, and we know this about drivers, if they're not looking for motorcycles, you're not going to see a motorcycle.
Nope.
It's why you have kids playing in streets that get hit sometimes because the people driving home are looking for cars. They're not looking for the kid that's going to dash out in front of the middle of the street. And you actually get that kind of blindness where it takes you a moment or two to register that when if you were watching for something like that, you would see it. And so if you're not looking, you're not expecting to see that motorcyclist over your shoulder when you're changing lanes. When you glance over there, you're not going to see him. And it's dangerous. Yeah.
And then you add cell phones to it, and it's just
Yep,
all gets
exactly. Yeah. And we aren't supposed to be on our cell phones, and we keep putting bigger and bigger touch screens in the cars, which someone's going to have to explain that to me. I don't understand. But oh well, not for today.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of great stuff to cover, including the markets. My goodness, it dropped 600 points on Friday. So we'll be watching the Dow the minute it opens, which I believe is about 7:30 our time here.
Yeah, the Nikkei in Japan took a tank too this morning. That's not good. Not good at all.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
People are pausing to adjust their 401ks and their ERAs. Well, we'll continue to manage all of that today. Lots of news as the week kicks off. So speaking of news, let's check in on the news with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Where are you, Jeff?
I'm in a secret location.
Are you? You look like you're in a hotel lobby somewhere. You've got.
See, there are some things that complicated Jeff's personal life, and he needs to be doing stuff outside the house today. So yeah, so that's the thing, and so
I love it.
Yeah, so he
sounds great.
Oh, it does sound great, and this is an emergency thing where we had to grab the Comrex and last minute and bring it in and get stuff together. So we're hoping that the technology works for the number of days that we're going to need to do this. So
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's fantastic. All right. Happy Monday. And as we start the week, Jeff and Billy, 68 as the sun rises, expecting a high of 94 today. The 710 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, some evacuees of the fire near Lyons in Boulder County got the good news over the weekend that they can return to their homes after flames destroyed 5 homes and claimed 1 life. Officials also confirmed last night that crews now have the Stone Canyon fire fully contained at just over 1,500 acres, with all roads now open. The sheriff's office has set up a tip line to help find whoever may have started the fire a week ago. The search is on for an arson suspect in another Colorado wildfire. This one has burned 472 acres since Tuesday night in Jefferson County near Deer Creek Canyon. Crews are dealing with dangerous steep terrain and also battled excessive heat last week, but they now have the Corey fire 35% contained thanks to Sunday's rain. Some Alexander Mountain fire residents west of Loveland also able to return home, and a little rain once again last night in that area, thankfully. The Democratic National Committee says VP Kamala Harris has enough delegates to be the official party nominee for the White House. Former President Trump in Georgia over the weekend.
Yesterday, it was announced that unemployment is surging, with 350,000 Americans joining the unemployment rolls just last month. Tell you what, we could end up in a depression. We could end up in World War III and a depression. How about that? Could happen too. Under Harris-Biden policies, we now have the highest unemployment rate in 3 years.
And Tom Cotton with some great points over the weekend.
She's only had one single unscripted moment Thursday night at Andrews Air Force Base, welcoming those hostages back. And she served up the kind of incomprehensible word salad for which she's become famous. When she has to encounter the media, and I'm sure you're going to insist that she does, she's going to have to answer for things like why she wants to eliminate oil and gas production in this country, why she wants to ban gas-powered cars, why she wants to confiscate private firearms.
Lawfare and show trials continue. Trump's federal election interference case is going back to court on August 16th. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan resumed control of the case on Friday after the Supreme Court issued its ruling that presidents are immune from prosecution when carrying out official acts. Chutkan issued an order Saturday denying Trump's motion to dismiss the federal criminal charges brought by special counsel Jack Smith. New developments in the CU Colorado Springs shooting case. The suspect accused of killing 2 people in a dorm room 6 months ago has been found competent to stand trial. Turns out Nicholas Jordan may have exaggerated symptoms of mental health disorder during his first evaluation. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills. Locally owned and operated since 1954, online at lairfireplacepatio.com. Broncos training camp continues. The great Randy Gradishar inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, and the Padres beat the Rockies 10-2. Tennis legend Novak Djokovic, I always want to mess that one up, is adding to his legacy. The Serbian defeated Spain's Carlos Alcaraz in the men's singles gold match at the Paris Olympics Sunday. It was Djokovic's 5th try at winning the gold. 65 in Parker, 66 in Englewood, 68 in Denver. Jeff and Bill continue. It is Monday morning as we get your week started. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Subtropical moisture is going to be overhead this week, so thunderstorm chances are going to be good, especially second half of the week. Still warm, low to mid-90s today, 60s tonight, and low to mid-90s for tomorrow, and low to mid-90s Wednesday. Today through Wednesday, a handful of afternoon and evening scattered showers and thunderstorms. A cooling trend, showers and thunderstorms increasing Thursday and Friday. Weather sponsored by BranchPlanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at BranchPlanning.com or call 720-651-9800. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, Billy, how much would you spend to go to the Olympics?
Ooh. Free? No, I'm sorry. I like the Olympics a lot. It's just if I'm going to invest cash, I'm not sure that's where I would put it. But it's such a unique spectacle of different athletes from all over the world.
Yeah.
I can see it. It would be something that would be wonderful. But it would be thousands and thousands of dollars. How we're going to Paris, that's going to be kind of fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
This would be one of the. Would you rather go to the Olympics in Paris or the Olympics in Los Angeles? Because that's the next round.
Paris,
Yeah,
easily
me too.
Paris. Yeah,
Me
and
too.
because it's international, and
Yeah.
we all know LA and the traffic. So Paris, and I'm excited. I one of our advertisers, Balance Well Space, Dr. Jess has been over there at the Paris Olympics, and she returned yesterday. So I'm excited. I'm going to catch up with her this week when I go and see them. So I want to find out about her experience. I'm going to get a one-on-one recounting. She was both in Paris and also they went down to Nice as well. So I'm excited to see what their
Beautiful.
experience is. Yeah.
So I was watching over the weekend and the Noah Lyles race.
Oh yeah.
This is the guy that won by 5/10, no, 5/100ths of a second.
5/100ths. Yeah.
5/100ths of a second in a 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
And
That's
it basically
crazy.
came down to he led with his chest, where the other guys led with their head. And it's not the first person to get a body part across the line. I didn't
Yeah.
know this. It's the first person to get their torso
Yes.
across the line. So you could stick a foot or a hand or even a head across the finish line. And that doesn't technically mean that the race is over. It's when you get the torso across
Yeah.
the finish
And
line.
I didn't
And
know that
he
either.
did.
I thought it was the horse racing rule that first bit over the line wins. That's what I thought it was. And I'm looking at
Me too.
feet and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh no, he lost. And then wait, what? That's crazy.
Wild. Hey, we've got a clip of a lady
Yeah.
that spent some money to go to the Olympics. She is what is called an Olympics super fan.
Yeah,
And
is she ever?
Billy, why don't you go play that?
Here it is.
This Olympics is the most I ever spent on any Olympics because I wanted to be in Paris. I was determined that I wanted to see the Olympics in Paris, one of my favorite cities. And I spent over $10,000 to get here. And I almost maxed out all my credit cards. And I worked 2 jobs. I had one in the morning at the beach, and then I had one at night bagging groceries. And I kept saving and buying tickets little by little. Ended up with 38 tickets to the games. I kind of overdid it, but I'm having a good time seeing all the games. But it was hard to save up, and it's a big budget, but it's 1,000 times worth it.
Wow. 38 different events. Wow.
Now, when I first saw that, I'm like, wow, that's over the top. But then I was thinking, we all have something.
Oh yeah.
We all would have
Yeah.
something we'd spend $10,000 on
Oh, absolutely. And
an event.
she looks like, you say super fan. Okay, imagine the crazy people that are walking around at the convention where it's, they're draped in American flags and it may say RNC or Republican or whatever it is, and then they have a hat, and the hat has flags on top, and the hat has pins all over it, and then she has Olympic earrings,
Yep.
and they are, each one of the rings has got to be about the size of a nickel. These are huge earrings dangling off of her face. Yeah, I'm like, your poor ears. Yeah, so
And
she
she's
is a
got
super
the
fan. That's what it looks
hat
like.
and everything's
Yeah.
dangling.
Yeah, and she's got 3 or
Super
4.
fan.
Yeah, she's got 3 or 4 flags on top of her hat, which is one's the American flag, and I'm assuming the others either got to be country she likes or just heritage. I'm guessing, but she's got like 4 flags sticking out of it. She's got it's a big white like cat in the hat top hat type of thing. Yeah. So yeah, not
That's
like
a good
not Abe
description,
Lincoln, but
Billy.
it is. It's a cat in the hat one because it kind of bows out of the top and stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So my question to you and to
Yeah.
our listeners, what would you spend $10,000 to do?
Ooh,
Like, what are you a super fan of?
yeah. For
That
me,
you would go, I might lay that out there.
it would have to be World Cup. When
Yeah.
I was younger, it would be music festivals, concerts. Now, I'm too old to be walking around a festival for 3 days and sleep on the ground. I'm way too old for that. So I can't do that anymore. There's no way I could do something like that. It would be World Cup, but it would have to be, again, right place, right time. I wouldn't be going to the previous World Cup because it was held on the surface of the sun. And that was just stupid.
Is that the one in Qatar?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah, again, that's on a side note. That World Cup is the most recent example why the international governing body of soccer is the most corrupt organization on the planet. Nothing is even close. They are so corrupt. They just basically that one was where Qatar said, how much money? How many zeros do we have to
exactly.
put on the check?
Yep.
And they said, this many zeros. And they said, all right, sir, it'll be deposited by the morning. And that was it. So yeah, that would be the question. And I'm really skeptical about the next one that's coming here to the US. I'm really, really skeptical about it. I think we're gonna mess it up. I think we're gonna mess up the surfaces.
When is it? When is it?
Next year. No, 26. Yeah, 24, 26.
Oh, you know what? I remember
Yeah.
just because my kids played soccer, and I remember they were kind of just tangentially
Yeah.
trying to get some of the games here. Did they end up getting any of the games to Colorado?
No, nope, not at all.
No?
We got shut out. They go to Kansas City instead, which I think sucks. I think here would have been
Oh,
much
come
better.
on.
Yeah, much better geographically
Was it
here for
the-
the region.
Was it the altitude?
I have a feeling our check was too small. That's just, I really just think, I mean, again, the international governing body of soccer is so corrupt. The idea that any of these locations won on meritocracy flies in the face of every decision that FIFA makes. It's never about doing what is right or the best possible choice, ever. Never about that. It's what's going to give us the most money. I know the one play I'm hoping for is Seattle is hosting some games. So I'm going to go sleep on the couch at my brother's house is what I'm probably going to do. And his
so you
wife.
can get up there.
Yeah.
So
that's
soccer
be,
soccer would get a check out of you to
yeah,
go.
it would, but it'd be the right location. It would be like if I'm an American spending the huge check to go to Paris for the Olympics, much more attractive than going to LA for the Olympics. So that's where I think it boosts it up. You're talking go to Seoul, that would be really cool, or Beijing. Those would be really fun just because of the location. It's not as much fun in America. Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know. Hey, LA. Look, the Hollywood sign. Oh, good. Yes, everybody's been to the North Hollywood neighborhood.
For me, it'd be something probably political because that's just what my leanings are, like the inauguration.
Oh, that's interesting.
I did go to the last Trump inauguration.
Yeah.
And had great seats, and it's just because of all who we knew. And my wife and I got the tux on and the ball gown on and went to the inauguration party where the president comes out and dances with his spouse.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was, the inaugurations are cool. And then at one point we walked by Antifa protests, which were interesting.
Oh, how fun.
Tux, and your wife's in a gown.
Oh God.
Like please don't throw stuff at us.
Yeah, exactly. And I always appreciate, the Antifa because they're somewhat supposed to be an anarchist collective type of an organization. So the idea that they all get together in one location and do something is kind of like, okay, I understand what you're doing, but exactly. Yeah.
So the inaugurations are fun, man. And then I remember the hotel. We ended up getting a hotel like way outside this. So here's a wild story. Here's a kind of fun story about the last inauguration. So we got a hotel, and I was traveling with the president of CCU. And so we got a hotel way outside the city. I mean, like an hour outside the city.
You were in Philly.
Yeah, basically at that point. So that morning, I'm like, we got to get up. We're going to take an Uber, and we're going to take an Uber to the metro, and then we're going to take the metro in. We're going to get in super early.
Yeah,
like we're going to, because this is the actual day of inauguration. Let's get in
crowd.
Super early. And so we get picked up by an Uber Black, which was kind of cool, right? And those are like the SUVs, really nice ones. I don't even think we ordered that, but it just came.
Nice.
So we're driving in outside the DC Metro, and we're supposed to kind of turn off towards a metro station and going. But we noticed that as we're heading in, we're in a big line of black SUVs.
Oh,
like heading into the city. And there's buses and stuff. These were the VIPs for the seating section of the inauguration.
You stole somebody's SUV.
So
there's a VIP back at the hotel going, hey,
what happened there?
Hey.
So I tell them, and the Uber driver was super cool. And I was like, dude, just blend in. Let's just see how far we can get.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know how far we're going to get. They're probably going to stop us at some point, but let's just go.
Yeah.
Dude got us all the way to the inauguration.
No.
All the way in. And we were
God.
just blend in, man.
Just go for it.
With all the SUVs. So we got all the way in.
Oh, that is wonderful.
And we were there like 3 hours early because we thought we were going to have to metro in, but it worked out, So
that's fantastic.
I'd spend $10,000 to do something kind of cool like that.
That is fantastic. That's
inaugurations.
That is like, and again, I'm not going to divulge this, but up at Red Rocks, I have a secret parking location that is fan-freaking-tastic. But I can't divulge. I can't divulge the location, and you do have to have some media connections in order to make it work. But it's not that hard to get access to this lot, and it is fantastic. In fact, this is how cool it is. Outside the lot, there's a shuttle bus that comes and picks you up and takes you there. But I can't tell anything because it's a tiny little lot, and it's super secret.
Closer and closer, Billy.
Yeah,
You're giving us a little bit more information.
I know. I don't want to anymore because it is the best kept secret. But you've got to have a little bit of media connections, just a tiny little bit, in order to get through the secret doorway. That's all you need. Yeah, that's basically it.
Let us know. You heard the lady. She spent $10,000 to go to the Olympics. What would you spend $10,000 to do? I'd love to hear from you. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the 710 KNUS app. As you know, this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So this is where we would like to have the conversation. We've got a lot of news to cover today, but give us a call and let us know. What would you spend an outrageous amount of money to go do? I'm looking for those that are like the Simpsons Comic-Con,
something like that. Now, what's the biggest ticket item that you've done so far? And I would say not a biggest ticket, biggest splurge. Things like, friends have done destination weddings, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not talking about that. I'm talking about something that you didn't have to go to that you did just for fun. What was the biggest splurge, do you think?
That was the biggest one for me was on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
I paid the Ritz-Carlton for a private dinner on the beach, and it was outrageous.
Oh, I bet.
And we had our own private waiter and chef who would carry everything out there. And I will only do that probably one other time on a major anniversary, but that was the most
awesome.
that is awesome. I've ever spent. I was like, all right, we'll do it.
So a little trick if you want to get to some of the the more ritzier towns, especially Aspen. My wife and I, our anniversary is in September. Yeah. And that's a dead time for those resort towns. Yeah,
that's a good time.
So when she and we did our honeymoon in Aspen, and we've gone back there a couple of times since, the best thing about it is there's nobody in town. There are times in which you're able to go to the best restaurants in town, and you're lucky if there are 2 other tables there being served. Yeah, we've had several private dining experiences at some amazing restaurants simply because nobody else is there, which is absolutely wonderful. That is the crazy part. The biggest unnecessary splurge probably for me would have been when my brother and I went to Woodstock 99. That's probably the biggest one.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah. And it's 25 years ago, this year. And I'm watching a lot of, the reports and people talking about it. And everyone's talking about how to get out of control. And nobody is mentioning what the real linchpin in why everything went sideways Sunday afternoon.
What is that?
No one is talking about the candles. Not a single person. Yes, candles. No one. All the reports, everything I've seen, no one talks about the candles. Here's the story.
All right.
Sunday afternoon, middle of the afternoon, my brother and I are sitting there, and I forget who we were watching. Group comes around, about 4 of them, and they have a box. And you can see a couple of different groups working through the crowd. Inside the box are those candles that many people will associate with something going on with church. They're white, and they have a little tiny, round white thing on it, so the wax doesn't drip down and get on your hand.
Yep.
And they're walking around and they're handing those out, and they're saying, yes, when it gets dusk tonight over here at the East Stage, we're going to have this, and everybody's going to light their candles, and we're going to have a moment of, I don't know what the hell they were talking about. Because as soon as I got the candle, I'm like, yeah. My brother and I looked at each other as soon as they walked away, and we went, so these people have been here now going on 3 days. Accommodations, not so great, been sleeping on the ground. Food, not always accessible. There's been a sewage issue. And they've been putting God knows what into their system for 3 days. And now you're giving them fire. This is going to end badly. It was 1:30 in the afternoon on the Sunday. And my brother and I are like, yeah, people are going to light stuff on fire. And I think, I don't know if it's the Chili Peppers or Rage Against the Machine. One of the two. It might be Chili Peppers, where we start counting the number of fires in the crowd, and it's late on Sunday. So one group has gotten a hold of several wooden pallets and have lit them on fire in the crowd. And we're like, well, here it goes. This is how it starts. Yeah. And within 2.5 hours, everything else is on fire. But again, in the afternoon, they're handing out candles. And you're like, who's the genius that decided to give these people open flames? That's the part. And so all the time when you see everybody talking about what went wrong, and who's to blame in Woodstock, candles. That's where everything went sideways.
Human nature.
Yes, candles. Yeah. What did you think was going to happen with these people? Have you been paying attention? They're putting extra holes in their bodies. Come on. What do you think they're going to do with fire?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Give us a call on what the most kind of wild splurge you did, or text us on the 710 KNUS app. Lady spent $10,000 to go to this Olympics. And originally you think of that and you go, that's a lot. But, There's some things I'd spend $10,000 on.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I want to tell you about my friend Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team. I adore Gay Ribble. And let me explain to you why, if you got to sell your home, Gay Ribble is absolutely the number one person I would call. First of all, she's a delightful person. She's been in the studio a number of times. And look, selling your home is a stressful thing. I'll probably do it maybe one or two more times in my life. That's it. I just don't like having to go through all the rigmarole of selling a home, the home inspections, the negotiations, all that. So if you're going to do that, you want to do it with somebody that's pretty positive, a very delightful person who's going to carry you through those stressful moments. That's Gay Ribble. Number two, she cares about the same values we all share on this station. She's given back to the community to try to make it a better place. She supports orphans in the state of Colorado because she was an orphan herself and was adopted by a wonderful family, gave her a great start, and she wants those kids to help. She wants to help those kids find their forever homes as well. And then number three, she is a titan when it comes to selling a home. She's got to be the best, right? 14,700 pre-approved buyers in her contact list waiting to buy a house. So when she does that, she sells a home on average for $30,000 more, 1.5 times faster than everybody else. That's amazing. All right. That's Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team. They will sell your home at your price, or Gay will buy it. Guaranteed. Reach out to my friends and realtors, Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team of Keller Williams. Call 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or go to gayasthebuyers.com. That's GAYE hasthebuyers.com. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Hang on a sec here. All right, Marcus, keep the radio off. Listen to the phone. We'll be right with you right out of the break, okay? Thanks, man. Hang on.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It's going to be a hot one today. 95 degrees with scattered afternoon storms and a whole lot of news to cover today. Biggest news probably going to be this stock market once it opens here in about an hour. And what that's going to mean for everyone's retirements. If we're going into a recession, my goodness, it's already been tough on everybody with inflation. And then you add in the bad jobs report, which we talked to Adam from Red Balloon on Friday about. So we'll be watching that in about an hour. That'll be opening. Plus, Tina Peters' trial continues today. We'll have some updates on what happened last week. And I've got some questions about all of this. So we'll get into that coming up here. And then Peter Boyles joins us in the 9 o'clock hour. Let's go to the phone lines. Marcus, you're on the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Marcus, what would you be willing to spend an exorbitant amount of money on?
Well, I never owned a new vehicle.
Yeah.
And
good for you. Dave Ramsey.
Well,
model.
finally I bought a nice Jeep Trailhawk. It's got all the bells and whistles and everything.
That's nice.
But it's like being a kid, you know. It's like you always wanted something, and if the parents gave it to you, you were so happy with it. You slept with it and everything. Same thing with the Jeep.
I like that.
Prior to the commercial break, we were talking. There's a lady that spent $10,000 on tickets to the Olympics. I think she was attending like 38 different events, and probably stayed in a nice hotel, and like made it. She was what's called an Olympic super fan. So, Marcus, you're the Jeep super fan, huh?
Well, I have always wanted something. I always had secondhand vehicles, and finally I got something. It's the first time. So it's like, it's got everything. But, you know, I can understand that lady. Wait till you get the bills, the payment, the full coverage insurance, you get the warranty.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
And it's more than $12,000 a year.
Oh, yeah, it is, Marcus. And I'll tell you, I do think that everybody should buy at least one new vehicle in their life. It is much more affordable and cost efficient to buy used. But I do think that everybody should have that splurge, that moment in their life to go and purchase a new vehicle, because there's something really special about it, because of being able. And what I mean new, I mean, you go in like you did, Marcus. You pick all the little bells and whistles that you want. You don't go in there. And I would never say go in and buy the new vehicle they already have on the lot. If you're going to do the new vehicle, choose the paint color, choose the interior, choose the bells and whistles that you want. And treat yourself. You understand that once you drive off the lot, it is.
I think that's an ad campaign. Billy.
Part of it is treat yourself, because part of it is some of that maintenance and things that are taken up for the first 5 years, that based on the kind of car you purchase and things like that, that some of that stuff can be taken care of for a while, and you don't have to worry about certain repairs. It's a really nice thing. I would never recommend it financially, doing it a lot of times, but yeah, at least once in your life, do it, because it's a fun thing to do, and it's really special. And there's something very, very different, rather than finding the right car to getting the right car because you chose every little thing on it. That's super cool.
And you know something else, Billy?
Yeah.
I can get to work on time.
Yes. yes, because we've all
I gotta
had
pay
that.
for it.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta be there. Oh my gosh, my friend. Okay, so on your new Jeep, what was the one extra bell and whistle that you were like, okay, I gotta get this? What's the one thing that's a little bit ridiculous but fun?
No. There was two things that really I had to have. A 9-gear automatic.
Ooh, yeah.
That I could take the transmission from 9 automatic to manual. And the other thing, it can drive itself in 4-wheel drive, mud, snow, rock, everything else. It'd take over.
Dude,
you got to keep your thumbs away from the steering wheel.
Oh, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's exactly it. And those are those things that you're going to feel good driving that each and every day. That's
I do.
Oh man, I'm so happy for you.
And guys, I think it's important for us to relish in these nice things before the stock market crashes in about an hour.
Exactly. Oh, thanks, Marcus. Have a great day. Appreciate it. So enjoy that Jeep. That is really cool. That's it. Have you done the new car thing? Just out of curiosity.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
my philosophy on this is probably
Yeah.
different than most people's, which is
I'm curious.
I buy new.
Yeah.
Every time that little gear thing pops up,
Yeah.
I take it right into the shop. I
Smart.
maintain them, and as a result, I am driving a 15-year-old 265,000 mile CRV right now.
Wow, that's nice. Now that's the way to do it. That's the way to really squeeze each and every mile
Yeah.
out of it. Because I do think that if you're going to buy it new, you drive it until the wheels fall off. That's
Yeah.
how you get the
And
most out
you
of
got to
it.
take care of them too.
Oh, yeah,
So,
you have to.
know,
Yeah, if you talk to any mechanics, they will tell you that regular maintenance thing is the number one thing that'll keep the car going for a long, long time. And it is over the arc of the life of the vehicle, it is going to be the least expensive option as well. Because
Yeah.
if you say, I'm going to save money by skipping this maintenance, it's going to lead
Yep.
us a really big cost
no,
later on.
it's like
Yeah.
the dentist. You're either
Oh,
going to
yeah.
pay with your time and
Yep.
your pain, like little
Yeah.
bits by getting cleanings, or you're gonna, in 5 years have to spend about a few thousand. Speaking of spending $10,000,
Yeah, speaking of.
spending, and then hours and hours and hours getting the work done. So
Yes, I can
you're
raise my
gonna
hand
pay
on that
for it
with
one way or the other.
Yeah, two young daughters that have just gone through wisdom tooth surgery recently.
Oof.
Yeah, that's cheap. They give that away.
Speaking of splurging,
Yeah, and it was both
Hey,
of them at the same time. And I didn't even get
did-
like the Big Mac McDonald deal, nothing. Couldn't double it up or nothing.
did you get good videos of them coming out of the?
That was my
the-
wife. Yeah, we did. It was funny because they both were just really silly. And this is the weird part. Okay, the weird part is Catherine, who's the one that just graduated from high school,
That's a
did
great
something
name.
very, very strange. Oh, thank you. Very, very strange. And the doctor said that doesn't happen very often. The conversation, right when she came out of the anesthesia, picked up exactly the conversation that she left off when she passed out the first time.
No way.
Yeah, and they said that rarely happens, but she just like burp, as if it's just, and she just continued right the same conversation. They go, that's really weird. That's just really, really strange. Yeah, that was a weird
And
one.
then the other one.
The other one, Gwen just takes. Gwen's the redhead.
Oh, that's
And
another great.
yeah, and she. Oh, thank you. And it's funny because Catherine's named for her grandmother. Gwendolyn is named for a cartoon character. in part. I mean, it's a name that her mom and I liked.
Get you there.
Yeah, well, it's a name that my wife and I really, really liked, and it was a choice.
Yeah.
And we're asking the other kids what they liked. And at the time, there was a very popular cartoon, and the cousin of the main character was Gwen. And they were like, "We like Gwen." So I'm like, "Well, okay." So alrighty, that was the easiest way to win that one.
Guinevere, wasn't that?
Yeah,
wasn't-
yeah, Lancelot. Yeah,
Lancelot, yeah,
yep,
yeah.
exactly. And in Welsh, it means white ring. That's where he pulled it from. Yeah, the Gwendolyn is a redhead, and so with her, it takes about 3 times the amount of anesthesia that it takes for anybody else. Yeah, there was one part where they were doing something, and she's sitting there, and the doc's like, "Wait, you can feel that?" She's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I can still feel that." He goes, "Okay, got to get more anesthesia." Yeah,
And
because
do
the
you
redhead
attribute
thing.
that to her red hair?
Oh yeah, it
Or-
is. The redheads have much higher tolerances against anesthesia. Yeah, they take much more
What?
painkillers. I've got 3 of them in my family. They take a lot more painkillers. Yeah, they have a different tolerance
Dude,
to
I
pain.
never heard that.
Yeah, they are. They have
Wow.
a significant difference in tolerance to pain. Yeah.
Well, we're just running out of time. We got to get to you choose the
Yeah, we
news.
do.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Want to take your favorite radio station wherever you go? Now, there's an app for that. No matter where you are, stream your favorite shows. Tap the app to listen to podcasts, text message your favorite local hosts, call the show, get the latest headlines, and enter contests to win prizes. All in the palm of your hand. Available now for iOS and Android devices in the App Store or Google Play. And best of all, it's free. Download today.
Well, Billy, it's Monday morning. We got to ease people into the week with a little
Yes.
You Choose the News.
Yes, we do, sir. It is that time of the morning where we play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show, You Choose the News. Yes, we have scoured the interwebs for mere moments this morning for really, really dumb stories about us humans. I have them here in my hands, and we're going to play this fake radio news game show. Why? Because the people in charge have no idea this actually happens this early in the morning. So, shh, it's a secret. Do not tell them. I'm tired of talking to HR. I got a meeting later today. I'm just saying. So I don't need another item on the menu. All righty. So, Mr. Hunt, Mr. Olson, here are your choices today. Headline number 1, parish outreach attracts attention. Headline number 2, homeless Greg, local hero or criminal. Headline number 3, Easter fan facing consequences. And headline number 4, oh no, dad's now upset. All righty, Mr. Hunt, your choice, sir.
Let's start with homeless Greg.
Yes, homeless Greg, local hero or criminal. That is what a small town in Iowa is asking, because for years, George Hartle Road has been somewhat of a local legend. George was known as, was known as homeless Greg. See, the thing is that he was going under another name and telling kids as he lived in the woods just outside of Des Moines. Yes, for years now, going back at least 3 generations, homeless Greg has been somewhat of a hero to the teenagers. They would go out and see his sort of makeshift tents and things that he has in the woods there. They'd hang out with him. Sometimes Greg would, give him a cigarette or even a 40-ounce beer. Yes, exactly.
He's
Yes.
providing them something.
It's exactly what's happening. Yes, he's giving them the cigarettes and the liquor, and the kids can go out there and drink without any supervision. Well, recently it turns out that homeless Greg is actually George Hartle Road, wanted rapist.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 3 decades ago,
Can't there
George.
just be a fine
I
hobo?
know, exactly.
All the background.
3 decades ago, he jumped from a halfway house where he was supposed to be serving a part of his conviction on rape 30 years ago. And during a recent stop and interaction with the police, they realized that he gave them a fake name. And that's when he fessed up to exactly who he is. And now he has to go back to prison because of it. Yeah. And everybody in the
Who's
small
gonna give
Iowa
the
town.
Teenagers
Exactly. They're beer and the
liquor
cigarettes.
and
I know. Yeah. And even some current teenagers' parents are like, I used to hang out with homeless Greg. Well, no, it's rapist George. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
yikes.
It sounds like a Simpsons episode. It's just crazy. Yes.
Exactly what it sounds
It
like.
is.
Down by the river.
Exactly. That's it. The man down by the river is exactly what it was. And you're like, wow.
That's
Alrighty.
frightening.
Okay. Now, Blake Olson, parish outreach attracts attention. Easter fan faces consequences, or oh no, now dad's upset.
Oh, these are really good, Billy.
Thank you.
Oh no, Dad's
Oh, no.
really upset.
Yep. Oh no, now dad's really upset. That is what Birthday, the retail company, Shimunara specialty store in Japan, is facing now. Dad is super, super enraged after their latest debut of their clothing line. Why? Because the phrases on the clothes mock dad. The closing line, which is for children, say things like, Daddy doesn't take care of me at all. Daddy doesn't care. Daddy's always sleeping.
In Japan?
Yes, in Japan, yes.
Really?
They have now apologized and they have pulled the entire line. However, my little brain, I want one of those in adult sizes. How fun is it that it just says, Daddy's always sleeping or Daddy doesn't take care of me at all? The weirdness on that phrase on the t-shirt of an adult, I think would just, I'm sorry, it just would hurt people's heads. And I think that's funny. But yeah, they had to apologize. I just want to know how it made it through the quality control in the first place.
Yeah, I know.
There
The
was like-
vindictive ex-wife.
Exactly. What the hell's going
Closing
on?
line.
All right, Mr. Hunt, final choice this morning. Parish outreach attracts attention or Easter fan faces consequences?
Let's go to Easter fan.
Yes, Easter fan facing consequences. Well, recently, 29-year-old man from Portsmouth, Mr. Leighton Richards, is going to be sentenced to 8 months behind bars because he's too much of an Easter fan. See, earlier this year, between January and April, Mr. Richards stole nearly 800 Cadbury cream eggs from a bunch of different stores. Yes, over the course of months, he targeted 19 different shops, thefting almost
weigh 500 pounds.
Exactly. But he got $3,500 in cream eggs. The hell? Is there some sort of black market on Cadbury cream eggs that I'm not aware of? What the hell is this? I mean, stealing.
Speaking of
eggs.
Simpsons, I'm thinking
Yes.
of that episode where Homer's in hell eating all the donuts.
Yeah.
And he just finishes all of them.
Yes.
But he's huge.
It's just this huge guy. That's exactly it. But dude, 800 Cadbury cream eggs. That is nuts. Oh, Blake, thank you so much for playing along. Jeff, back to you as always. They are your winners, and I'm just a big giant loser. That's the end of You Choose the News.
Well, when we come back, we'll continue to cover the fall of the stock market. We're expecting to see what that's going to happen when it opens in about 30 minutes. Peter Boyles joins us in the 9 o'clock hour. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is a Monday morning, 7 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Billy Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, center. Most of the time it's pretty crazy, too, but it's a beautiful day in the greatest country in history, and we're gearing up for a whole nother hour of compelling discussions and insightful analysis to help kick off your Monday morning. So grab another cup of coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after the news, Tina Peters continues her trial today. And I got some questions after what happened on day 2 or day 3. We'll dive into that. And I'd love to hear your calls about Tina Peters as well. Do you believe her? Do you think that she's fighting for compelling, clear, transparent elections, or is she a nutcase out there threatening our elections by bringing people in to view them that shouldn't be? I'd like to get your calls and texts on this important matter. Our elections in the state of Colorado. Who do you believe, Tina Peters or the prosecution, or are both problematic? That's where I kind of come down. We'll give you some insight on that in just a second. But let's first check in on the news with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy. 70 and sunny in Denver right now, expecting a high of 94 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, the search is on for an arson suspect in one of the wildfires on the Front Range. It's burned 472 acres since Tuesday night in Jefferson County near Deer Creek Canyon. Crews are dealing with dangerous steep terrain and also battled excessive heat last week, but they now have the Quarry fire at 35% contained. Sunday's rain helped. Some Alexander Mountain Fire residents west of Loveland have also been able to return home. It's 54% contained. Some evacuees of the fire near Lyons in Boulder County got good news over the weekend that they can return to their homes after flames destroyed 5 homes and claimed 1 life. Crews now have the Stone Canyon fire fully contained at just over 1,500 acres with all roads now open. The sheriff's office has set up a tip line to help try to find whoever may have started the fire a week ago. The state extending its bird flu disaster emergency. Governor Polis took executive action to continue supporting poultry facilities in Weld County through September 1st. Senator Lindsey Graham is speaking out against the prisoner exchange between the U.S. and Russia. Negotiated last week. Graham claimed the deal absolutely helps Russian President Vladimir Putin. He argued the swap encourages U.S. adversaries to arrest Americans. Many also say that Putin handed this to Harris to help her in the election because he knows he can't walk all over Trump. DJT in Georgia over the weekend says, unlike Kamala, he doesn't need rappers to pack the house.
Started to unfold when they started to leave about 10 minutes into the speech. It was very boring. I don't need entertainers. I fill the stadium because I'm making America great again. That's our entertainment. That's our entertainment, making America great again.
I love it. He comes up with new things every speech. I like this one. During the speech, talking to the crowd.
They said I was brave 2 weeks ago. I had to do what I had to do. It's not like brave, right? It's just we do the right thing. Go. Thank you. My courage was contagious. Well, your courage is contagious too. Thank you. Thank you.
That was a great moment. RFK Jr. says, this is funny here. Says he was the one who left a dead bear in New York City Central Park 10 years ago. Kennedy said he saw the bear get killed on a road in the Hudson Valley area and then decided to put it in his van so he could take it home, skin it, and use the meat. He got delayed in New York City and didn't have time to take the bear home before he had to be at the airport. So he left the bear with a bike on it, suggesting that the bike killed the bear. At the time, there was a surge of bike accidents in the Big Apple. Now, I listened to this yesterday, and the story goes on for like 3, 4, 5 minutes, but it's actually a pretty good story. So he was the one who left the dead bear in Central Park, if you remember that, or Central Park, if you remember that, about a decade ago. New developments in the CU Colorado Springs shooting case. The suspect accused of killing 2 people in a dorm room 6 months ago has been found competent to stand trial. Turns out Nicholas Jordan may have exaggerated symptoms of mental health disorder during his first evaluation. Broncos training camp continues, and the great Randy Gradishar inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame over the weekend. Padres beat the Rockies 10-2. Team USA's Noah Lyles is the fastest man in the world. He won the gold medal in the 100-meter race with a time of 9.79 seconds. 64 in Castle Rock, 68 in Greenwood Village, 70 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Subtropical moisture is going to be overhead this week, so thunderstorm chances are going to be good, especially second half of the week. Still warm, low to mid-90s today, 60s tonight, and low to mid-90s for tomorrow, and low to mid-90s Wednesday. Today through Wednesday, a handful of afternoon and evening scattered showers and thunderstorms. A cooling trend, showers and thunderstorms increasing Thursday and Friday. Weather sponsored by BranchPlanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at BranchPlanning.com or call 720-651-9800. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. The Tina Peters trial continues. I think they wrapped up about 3 days last week of testimony. They dove in. If you're wondering what she's being tried on 7 felonies and 3 misdemeanors, alleging identity theft, criminal impersonation, official misconduct, and violating her duties as county clerk. So what did she do? Well, right after the election, she suspected that there was election fraud, and she wanted to get copies of all the data before they came in and did a kind of update of the software. She was concerned that an update of the software would wipe out all of the evidence that there was election fraud taking place in Mesa County. So she wanted to copy the data. But in order to copy the data, she needed to provide somebody with technical kind of expertise access to the voter data. So she got a badge from a guy who was cleared. She asked for the badge from him. He was a consultant in the county, and got his badge and gave it to another guy that was very keen on the idea that there was election conspiracy taking place. So she gave the badge of one guy to another guy. He went in, copied all the data, was present during the kind of hardware reset. So he's kind of there under false premises. And then he took the data and posted it online. And this was voter data. And that went everywhere. Basically, anybody could access it. And her belief was that they were going to dive in and expose the election fraud that took place. Well, to my knowledge, none of that happened as far as election fraud in Mesa County. So that's what she's being brought up on charges. Billy, I think I did a good sense of navigating what this was. Did I miss any details there?
It's not really. That's a really good 10,000-foot view. And she's being charged with the idea of the manipulation of the system and letting somebody who's not authorized access to the system. And then, of course, downloading and taking this stuff home with you, which you can't do.
Well, and not just taking it home with you, but here, universe, you can look at it. Yeah.
And the problem that Tina's going to run into, and we talked about it last week with a friend of the show, George Brockler, that the idea of poison ideas that is it okay for you to break the law in order to uncover a larger crime? And that is probably that's what Tina's going to try, but they're not really allowed to make that case because the larger crime never appeared. The idea being, well, sir, I had to break into your jewelry store and steal all of these jewels right now because something awful is going to happen later in the
Because
later in
you
the
were
day.
using the jewels
Yeah,
for human trafficking
yeah,
or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so until you can prove the secondary crime or the larger crime, you can't then justify the first crime. And that's the danger in taking that step.
And Billy, that seems to be the big gamble in my
yeah.
mind, right? So if Tina had proved, right, that there was massive amounts of fraud taking place in the data, would she be a hero? I don't know. Maybe, right?
Because she proved, she would.
If she proved that there were voter fraud taking place, she, I think, might be a hero to a lot of people. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. But Billy, here's a bigger question.
Yeah.
So Colorado Public Radio is providing day-by-day analysis of the trial, which I recommend you go look there because from my perspective, it seems to be pretty fair. Prove me wrong, text in or give me a call. Maybe Tina Peters is this great hero and we're all missing it. But look, this is where I kind of went, I raised my eyebrow a little bit. So the second prosecution witness last week was a guy named Jesse Romero, a voting systems manager in the elections division of the Colorado Secretary of State's office. His team works with county election officials to certify the equipment and make sure they're using it correctly. Romero said he received an unusual request from Mesa County prior to the software update in April of 2021, asking for members of the public to be allowed to observe the process. And I sat there and went, that's an unusual request that the public can observe the process.
It would be because of the trusted build, because it would be access to the software. Observing the process per se, no, but being involved in this particular update would be unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Romero said the security protocols put into place since 2020 limited attendance to a small team of vetted officials, both out of COVID concerns and because of threats to election officials. Okay, so he didn't get really into the security thing, though. So he denied that request. The trusted build in the time I've been with the state has never been a public process, Romero testified. We've never had members of the public attend. We've never had counties asked to have members of the public attend. So, Billy, here's the question I have for you, for the listeners. This is a question I'm wrestling with. Okay, outside of all the Tina Peters stuff, and again, I haven't seen evidence of massive election fraud taking place in Mesa County that would warrant the necessity to copy all the voter data and make it public and all that stuff. I don't think that Tina Peters has been vindicated. Just don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
But do you believe that our election process is transparent? Like, do you know what happens when you vote?
Yeah, within reason. Yeah.
I don't really know. Like with all the security stuff, as I'm sitting here reading about all of the security and the updates and the software and all the details that go into it, I can't tell you what happens other than I pull the lever for my candidate and somewhere it goes out there. And I just, at this point, kind of trust that it works, but I can't tell you how it works.
Yeah, well, I think each county does do some public updates and forums where you can come in and they do, and they walk you through it. And they also walk all the candidates through the process as well, as far as here's the thing, here's how they're counted, here's how the machines work, here's how these go. Yeah, but the other part is, if we were going to open up that update, and again, it's a software update for the trusted build, why would the public need to be there to watch that? What would be something that would be prevented from? This is what I don't understand with the idea of, well, we're not there sitting there and watching. Okay, but isn't the assumption that the computer people are doing crazy things to the computer language and making the computers do things and count things they shouldn't? And none of that would be observable during the trusted build.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like it's so because it's
programs.
So complicated. You just, it's all this code, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even I would bet that even a brilliant computer scientist couldn't be watching code as it streams by and be like, oh yeah, that's legit.
Yeah. Well,
So the
yes
the
and no.
point I'm making is like we're putting a lot of trust into a handful of people, and most people have no idea how the whole thing works.
Well,
I have no idea how the whole thing works.
Here's the thing that is the idea of, I mean, you're talking about, engineer and computer scientist on the back end of the function, the programs that actually run the computers and the vote tabulation machines is really simplistic. The vote counting machines are not complicated at all. The phone you have in your pocket is more complicated than the vote tallying machines that Dominion builds. Now, they do have software security, but it's a double entry accounting system. And they do an electronic count and a paper count. And basically, it's just a really fancy calculator that then does some vote tabulation and some other mathematical stuff on the back end, and can also run some spreadsheet quality stuff afterwards as well to evaluate totals and some other things. They're not that complicated really functionally. And most of the software update has to do with, again, changing software update because you don't want to have outdated software. But the other thing is you're looking at, preventing security breaches in theory. Because sometimes, as we've seen, both intentionally and unintentionally, some of the counties don't follow all the proper security procedures. They don't click all the things that should be turned on, and they don't click all the things that should be turned off sometimes. So that's part of it as well, is when you get in there and wipe the system, you can wipe over some of the mistakes that they've made in the past. But it's not, that's a problem, is that how we count votes, even electronically, is not really that complicated. There's not a lot of,
I don't know. It
behind
seems complicated to me. Now, obviously, I don't want to go back to paper ballots. I know some people want to do that, and I guess if you came up with a system that could do it quickly,
but we do have paper ballots.
Yeah,
we do though.
Yeah,
Colorado,
but the hand count, maybe that's what I'm talking about. The hand count,
because in Colorado, it's paper ballots, and when people say, "Well, we got to do these on paper," last dozen elections, I filled out everything on paper.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. So maybe it's the hand count that I was talking about. But look, I don't want this to take forever.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of like, well, but they used to do hand counts and we know who the president was that night. It seems like we've gone to computer counting and it's gotten a lot more complicated. Here's the question I have for the listeners. 710 KNUS. Do you trust our election system in Colorado? Do you believe that Tina Peters was right to try to harvest the data, to do some analysis? Was she doing her job in trying to secure the election when she believed, as the county clerk, as a duly elected county clerk, that there was something fishy going on? Or, to Pam Anderson's point over the weekend, because she had some strong text messages, that Tina Peters is a crook and the state party is wrong to support her, that these are grifters, and that she should be convicted. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the 710 KNUS app. Here's Artis texting in, I believe Tina Peters and Joel Altman. There is no logical, legal way Biden got the most votes of any president of the United States in history. Do you believe it?
Yeah.
Give me a call, 303-696-1971. Go ahead, Billy.
That's a math thing. That's a math question, which, here's the thing is, I understand the idea of I can't possibly believe that this person got more votes than the other candidates in history. The problem is we had more voters than we've ever had in election in history. We've had more people in America than we've ever had in any election in history. That's the problem with that conclusion. It's the idea that you are assuming voter registration and population numbers are static, and they are anything but. We are going to have more votes probably cast in this election than we did in 2022 and 2020. What we do know is we will have more people registered to vote in this election than we ever had before in any election in history, simply because of the function of population growth. And guess what? If we go back through the arc of history, and this is why the argument of, I can't believe this person got more votes than anybody else in history, the next president usually does get more votes than the previous winner. Mathematically, that's normally how it happens. Very rarely do you have someone that loses a popular vote that also ends up winning. But even when that happens, the person, like in President Trump's case, you go back and look at the number of votes that he got over Hillary Clinton. You're telling me more people voted for him than voted for Ronald Reagan. It's basically what the math says. That seems silly, but that's what math says, because that's how population growth works. We have more people in the country than we had during the founding fathers. That's population growth. So the argument of, I can't believe Biden got more votes than anybody else in history, that's how math works. Sorry. It's just it. That's just
text messages coming in. They allowed for faster voting in the past, or faster hand counting in the past, because it was precinct based.
Yeah.
Precinct voting allowed fast hand counting. So has that changed? Are we now kind of, is it not precinct? Is it county?
I don't know. The other part, though, is that the hand count is, okay, if we are worried about election fraud and votes counting for people that they shouldn't, then you don't hand count the ballots. Hand counting is scientifically the least accurate way of counting anything. Doesn't matter. You can get a bag of pennies. You can get a box of rocks. You can get a bunch of jelly beans. You can get people at a location. Doesn't matter. The hand count is always going to be the least accurate method. So here's the thing. What I need help understanding is why, if you're worried about election integrity, do you want to count the votes in the least accurate manner? I disagree with anybody saying they're super worried about election integrity that says the answer is hand counting, because that is the absolute worst way to get the right number. Hands down. So I disagree when someone says we got to have hand counting because of election integrity. You don't understand it. You're just making an excuse. But prove me wrong. I'm curious.
Text messages coming in. Long story short, Tina Peters is a crazy person. 3433 believes. 6430. I've worked for the Jefferson County voter registration for the last, since Trump ran. I guess that's 2016. And there's absolutely no way anything can happen to those ballots. None. As a matter of fact, people would come in from all over the county to see exactly how the process in Jefferson County ran. It runs incredible. And my guess about Biden getting more votes is because we are coming off of Trump's presidency. So just motivated against Trump. The bread man, generally, the system is probably okay, as Greg Lopez's election was certified, but make it transparent by making the code public.
I can see that, but if we made the code public, wouldn't that give people opportunity then to manipulate the code? That's the only issue. It's why Google doesn't make their algorithm public, because then people could go in and manipulate the algorithm. And so I understand the idea of transparency, but if you want to show everybody how the back end of the system works and give them access to the code, then you're asking them to manipulate the code.
That, Bill, that's where I'm so kind of like amazed by this. Like democracy. We hold it to be sacred in this country, and we don't really know how the code works, because if we did, there'd be security concerns.
Yeah, because you'd be able to hack into it if we told the code. But here's the weird part is what I've been fascinated with over the previous 4.5 years now is this assumption that when we were putting together the voting systems, nobody asked these questions. That's the weird part, that somehow just after the 2020 election, people went, could someone get in there and hack the system? Can they connect it to the internet? You didn't think that again, if you're designing a voting system and you have to sell it to these counties, you don't think that would have been addressed. That's the part that's weird. This is a consumer product that is sold to election officials based on security, performance, ease, and things like that, and constant updates. So you don't think the business would come and say, here's why this is secure? They don't come in and say, anybody can walk in off the street and do whatever they want here, and this is easy. That would be weird. That would be really weird to say that's your consumer model for the product that you're pitching inside elections.
And like I said early on, so then there's only a small handful of people that actually know how the whole thing works, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, text message confirmed. Count is now county centralized as opposed to precinct based. That's why it takes longer and gets a little bit more complicated. Let's go to the phone lines. Brian, Denver, you're on the Jeff and Bill show. News Talk 710 KNUS. Good morning, Brian.
Morning.
there's so much to unpack here, but I don't
bet.
want to go back. I don't want to go back to re-litigate the election. But the AJC out of Georgia, they had an expert testify that the computers, the software program can absolutely be hacked. And anyone knows that any system can be hacked. Now, was it to a point that it changed the election? Was it not? People can argue that, but they can be hacked. He proved it with one of the machines in court. So that's documented that it can be hacked. So anyone that says that it can't be, that's false. And then to Billy's point, doing a math problem longhand is a lot slower than a calculator. But if I've got 30 people doing the same longhand division problem, and the margin of error is going to go down the more people I have. So to your point, computers are faster, more accurate, not if they can be hacked.
Well, here's the thing, Brian, and I understand the idea of 30 people, but the issue, if you had 30 people doing the same math problem, you understand that if one person or two people out of those 30 get it wrong, that entire pool is poisoned, because once that person counts the ballots, they're not always passing them off to somebody else to count again. That repetition of task would be inefficient and also probably lead to more mistakes, because again, hand counting is bad. Now, the issue with the hacking is, yes, absolutely, the machines can get hacked if they're connected to the internet, and things can go wrong. The other problem with the idea that the hacking can be done is that if they hack on the back end, it can be seen on how the machine spits it out. Because when the machine counts votes, there is a paper trail and there's also an electronic trail. And if you get inside the machine and you hack the electronic trail, it's going to disagree with what's on paper. And that's one of the first things they do in order to verify that the system is solid, that the numbers on paper match the numbers that are electronic. And if you came into that system and you hacked electronically and changed it, two things would happen. Either you would have to show the hack also on the paper system with the manipulation of ballots, or the numbers wouldn't match. Both of those would indicate that the machine is bad. So I understand it can be hacked, but the idea that we can't see that on the tail end after the count is not correct. So that's why.
On what paper trail?
The voting machines are a double entry accounting system. When the ballot is entered, it makes an electronic tally and a tally on paper. And you get a paper printout at the end along with an electronic tally. And the paper receipt has to match the electronic receipt. If those two numbers don't match, there's a problem in the system, and the machine has to be rerun. Either they rerun all the ballots, or they do a system check, things like that. So if you went in and hacked the machine and changed those electronic numbers, it would either there'd be a discrepancy between the electronic number and the paper number, or you would see a subtraction of votes or manipulation of votes on that paper receipt. So that's why it would be obvious if you were hacking them when the machine is doing those type of ballot counting. It would be intuitively obvious.
So these software computers are just big registers that have a paper receipt as well. So why couldn't they make the paper receipt match their manipulation?
Because how would you do that, though? Because here's the idea, Brian, is, okay, hang on a sec, watch, Brian. I've got 10,000 votes coming in for Biden and 10,000 votes for Trump, and I want to change 500 of those votes for Biden. Once it goes to the paper, I have to manipulate it. As soon as the ballots come in, we don't know the numbers. Those numbers are recorded immediately, one electronically, one on paper. If I go in electronically and manipulate those 10,000 votes for Biden and move 500 over there, then what I'm going to do is on that paper receipt, they're going to see a subtraction of 500 votes from Biden. That's what would happen. So that's why you would be able to see it manipulated. So yes, they can be hacked, but you'd see it.
I guess,
that's a good point.
Well, here's where I'm struggling, especially after reading this CPR article. I mean, generally, we had a pretty good election system. It seemed like for a long time. It's not like we just started the country with a computer processing system. And therefore can't imagine going anywhere else with our ballots in our system here. But I'm sitting here listening to you, Bill, and I'm sitting here reading the CPR article, and I'm going, this thing is crazy complicated. Most people have no idea how it happens, let alone trust that it can happen. And the people that that can happen legitimately or isn't hacked, because we just don't know. We just don't know. Now, maybe you could go, well, our banking system has gone digital, and we all have to. I don't know how my money transfers in between one bank account or another, but it just does. But it seems like with voting, it has gotten so complicated. They admit that very few people even monitor it with regards to trusted builds or what kind of software they're updating or anything like that. So it's a very small group of people. And it just seems to have gotten really, really complicated, but it wasn't this way. And wouldn't it just be easier if we went back to the old ways of doing it?
If we want it to be inaccurate, sure.
And I think chain of custody is a huge issue as well. And I've got a friend that's been an election official for over 10 years now. And the signature verification process is an absolute joke. What they use to verify if that's somebody's signature, it says it's so wrought with error and it's just that right there to me is, sorry, if your signature's got it, they don't verify your signature when you get pulled over by a cop. They verify your driver's license or your identification. When you open a bank account, they want your driver's license. When you get on a plane, they want your driver's license. They don't say, oh, sign here so I know that you're Brian. No. So the signature verification is a huge problem.
But Brian, what happens when the signature gets bounced? When the ballot comes in, what happens? What's the process? Do you know?
Yeah, they go into another stack for a closer look.
And
but,
how does that
but
look?
The ones that
what's the
pass,
process? But what's the process for that closer look?
Well, it goes to a different stack that he's not involved in that process.
Yeah, but it's humans. It's humans, and normally it's one person. Normally it's 2 to 3 people that are involved in looking at it, and then going back to what your voter registration was and your most recent state ID card, whatever that may be, and they will look at the similarities between there and between all of them. They then make the judgment on whatever we need to.
So we're up against a break here, and guys, I want to continue this conversation. Give us a call. Tina Peters' trial continues. It's gone through 3 days so far. She's being charged with 7 felonies and 3 misdemeanors alleging identity theft, criminal impersonation, official misconduct, and violating her duties as a county clerk. Do you believe that Tina Peters is a martyr? She was fighting for election integrity. She did what was right, or do you think that she's a crackpot? She deserves to be charged with these. She took the data, exposed it, put it up on a cloud. That was not right to do, and she should be charged with this and imprisoned as a result of it, or at least fined as a result of the work that she did as a county clerk. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. Want to talk to you about my friends over at Advanced Hair Restoration. Look, you know that the Jeff and Bill Show, top-rated talk radio program by Westward Magazine. Well, our friends over at Advanced Hair Restoration, the top hair restoration company by Westward as well. So you know they're great. Advanced Hair stands by the results, and their before and afters are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that's hard to find elsewhere. And finally, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It's quick, it's simple, and it's easy. Now, if you have that flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, guess what? It's here. Advanced Hair's summer savings event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. For details and to schedule a free consultation, call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Look, I had family members get their hair done via Advanced Hair, and it really did bring a lot of youthfulness back to them. That brought energy back to them and helped improve their dating life. Look, it is a great thing if you need that help. Before and afters at advancedhair.com. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. We'll continue with the Tina Peters trial. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KN.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Tina Peters, crazy lady or a martyr fighting for election integrity. She's facing 7 felonies, 3 misdemeanors, alleging identity theft, criminal impersonation, official misconduct, and violating her duties as a county clerk. Pam Anderson, she ran for Secretary of State. If you remember, she was the Republican nominee. She had some tweets over the weekend, some thoughts on Tina Peters. Not happy with her at all. And this Sunday morning, I received yet another corrupt missive from the Colorado GOP for support, a 10-minute prayer call, and money for Tina Peters' defense. Don't take the bait. These people are amoral, and claim my GOP primary opponent that I beat by 14 points as a victim. And I urge people everywhere to resist the grift and not spend a dime, much less $10. Tina's victim is the person of faith respecting the rule of law, not her, and a jury is fulfilling their sworn duty. The Colorado Republican Party is led by self-serving and unethical liars that should be removed. Text messages coming in saying, no, the real problem here is Jenna Griswold. That's where the real election problems are with her. She tried to get Trump off the ballot. She's a terrible Secretary of State. Tony from Denver. Bill, thanks for trying to explain how the voting system works, but some will never listen to how secure the systems are because the seeds of doubt have been planted by a sophisticated propaganda used by bad politicians. The signature verification software is very good, as the former Colorado GOP head that got caught submitting a ballot with his wife's estranged Ford signature on it. Touche, Tony. Touche. Let's go to the phone lines here. We'll start with Jim in Littleton. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710, KNUS. Good morning. What do you think of Tina Peters?
Well, in her situation, I don't know enough about it to really comment on it. I think she did what she did based on a belief, and sometimes beliefs can be very strong. So I won't judge on that, but I will tell you, mail-in ballots do have their faults. Europe used to allow them, and they don't allow them anymore. Especially France found a problem with them. Mexico no longer does it. And my question to you, I think something we all can agree on. Why are we not allowing the voting day to be a national holiday?
Dude, I agree with you entirely on that. That should be a national holiday. Mostly because I like as many days off as I can get. But look,
we just created Juneteenth. We just created Juneteenth as if anything, why don't we just wrap that one in and tie it into a national holiday of voting and those two? Because,
I agree with you.
The matter is, I just think that we could take away so many of these problems by making it a national holiday. The big thing is a lot of people say they can't take off work, even though they're supposed to be allowed to. That excuse. And if we really take voting seriously, then let's make it that way. And I don't understand why the Republican Party, who claims that this is a big issue, is not more upfront about it. Can you explain that one?
Well, Jim, my one concern about making it a national holiday is we will increase the number of drunk voting that will take place out there, as people don't have to work. But
Jeff, you act like that's a bad idea. You think our choices can get any worse? I think we're already making bad choices.
That's right. People are already drinking when they have to go to the ballot. They're like, this is where our country's going. Yes. These two.
I'm already drinking on April 15th. Let's just add another one. Let's just do it, my friend.
Billy, are you opposed to a national voting holiday?
No, I like it. And Jim, I'm not at all. I think we should. I would love the idea of a national voting holiday. The thing that I want to ask Jim is, what do you do about what you call those mandatory employees? We got to have somebody that shows up at the hospitals. We got to have people putting on the badge and the gun and patrolling the streets. And we need people to show up at the grocery store. That's the only hiccup I have in the national voting day is how do we also get them the time to vote as well? Because if we're taking it off to vote, that's the only thing. I still think we should do it, even if they have to be allowed extra time or they're the only ones that are allowed to vote, by mail or whatever the hell it is, or even do early voting, whatever that is. Yeah, but I agree with you, man.
how do they do it at Christmas or these other holidays? It's the same process, man. They can use the same process. People, they work half days and all this stuff. It can be done. It's very easily. It's just that we say we make it this is supposed to be a sacred event, yet we treat it like we throw away trash. And I'm just tired of it. And I really think the Republican Party should do something more instead of talking about it, to do something about it.
It's a great
Jim,
point.
I appreciate the call. Thanks so much. We'll continue this conversation, but first I want to talk to you about my friend over at Dan Caplis and Dan Caplis Law. Speaking of somebody I'd trust to run our election system, he'd be making a great either Secretary of State, Attorney General, or Governor in the state, maybe Senator too. Dan Caplis I've known for well over a decade. Dan is pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. Dan is with us on the issues, and it's why he supports advertising on this radio station. He's the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who were hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. But more than that, he's a winner in the courtroom. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to have won 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. But look, he's not just reserved for the rich and wealthy. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. So Dan, he'll accept a righteous injury case on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. If you need Dan's help, give him a call at 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLIS law.com. We'll continue with this conversation. Is Tina Peters a great martyr fighting for election integrity, or is she a nutcase felon that deserves to go to prison? The trial's taking place, and we're providing the coverage. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Want to take your favorite radio station wherever you go? Now, there's an app for that. No matter where you are, stream your favorite shows. Tap the app to listen to podcasts, text message your favorite local hosts, call the show, get the latest headlines, and enter contests to win prizes. All in the palm of your hand. Available now for iOS and Android devices in the App Store or Google Play. And best of all, it's free. Download today.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking Tina Peters. Good text message here. One of Tina's biggest problems is that she acts guilty. If what she was doing was truly on the up and up, why engage in ID fraud to slip into a building after she turned off the cameras? This is the conduct of a guilty mind. It continues. If she copied her exact behavior in any other building but left the building with someone's wallet or purse or laptop or anything other than election data, we would call her a burglar.
Ooh.
Let's go to the phones here. Jay, Denver, you're on the Jeff and Bill Show. News Talk 710 KNUS. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Jay.
Morning, great show. Can you hear me okay?
We got you. Thanks.
What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, we can all vote. We just do split shifts. Our office has been open since 1981, 24/7. So you just split your shift.
That's a great point.
Yeah. I used to go watch my mother work at the voting facility since I was probably 5 or 6 in California. It was always held in elementary school by local people, a lot of different people from different backgrounds, so it can be done fairly. But I kind of knew it was in the bag. In 2012, I went over to the precinct vote, which is over off of Federal and Bellevue, and that's an Arapahoe County facility, and that's when Obama was being reelected. And there was this guy that comes up next to me that was from San Francisco, but actually from China. He could not speak English. He was using the voting booth with the tent and the touchpad, and all he could say was, he couldn't even say the full name. He said, Bama, Bama, Bama. He couldn't speak English at all. It's right next to me. So the guy from the voting booth, I said, hang on a minute. And I went and got this guy from the election commission people. And he asked the guy to vote for him for Obama. That was it. One vote. I watched the whole thing. Curtain was open.
Wow.
And I knew it was in a bag then. Outside that building, that very building at
Jay,
Bellevue
we just
and,
got to run here. We're just out of time. I appreciate
I'm
the
sorry.
call.
Yeah, running out of time.
We're watching the Dow. It's down 900 points. Not good. All right. We'll continue to follow this. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Billy, we're apparently proud about something. Colorado loud and Colorado proud. It's the Jeff and Bill show.
Yeah, I'm the loud part, you're the proud part. That's how this works. Basically it. Yeah.
Right, huh? Pride over here.
Nicely twisted that. Well done, my friend. That's why we're friends. It's fantastic.
I'm wearing,
oh my gosh.
I'm wearing a shirt that might qualify.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a very
You're
loud
listening
shirt.
to the Jeff and Bill show on
admiration.
710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with the Honorable Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, center, and most of the time pretty crazy. It's a beautiful day in the greatest country in history, and we're gearing up for a whole nother hour of engaging discussions, critical analysis, and most importantly, your calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab another cup of coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up just after the news, a little bit later in the show, Peter Boyles. Friends are going to join us live from Sturgis, which can give us some better news than what's happening to the Dow right now. Currently, we are down 944 points. Oh, we rebounded a little bit. 787 points we're down so far today.
I feel so
it
much
wasn't
better.
good. It was I think it's a combination of inflation, the latest jobs report, and then high interest rates that are taking place right now that may be pushing us into a recession. It was a bad day, I think, in Japan as well. You were saying, Billy.
Yeah, the Nikkei was down. This morning quite a bit. Yeah, over 200 points last time I checked, but I haven't checked recently. Yeah, it was not a good day. Overnight trading did not do well. Yeah, in anticipation of this morning.
So we'll be watching that. What do you think that's going to do for Kamala Harris's presidential bid and Donald Trump's bid as well? Do you think it's going to affect the election? As James Carville always used to say, it's the economy, stupid. And if the economy is going into a recession less than 100 days prior to an election, it probably is not going to be good for the incumbent.
No, that's one of the keys. One of the keys for whether or not or who's going to win the election, especially the incumbent, is the short-term and long-term economy. And those right now are trending towards Harris's favor. But if this continues, that'll turn against her and make it much more likely that Trump will be the next president. Much more likely.
We're also monitoring Kamala Harris's social media to see if she's announced a vice presidential pick yet. So far, not yet. Did you see that maybe the mayor of Philadelphia accidentally released a video about Josh Shapiro?
Really?
Over the weekend.
Yeah, I think we're down. I think we're down to. I mean, I really think Shapiro's the lead dog in this one. I think he's the one to beat right now.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Walls is interesting, but I don't think she's going to pick him. I don't think Mark Kelly, Mr. Astronaut, is a great pick, but I haven't seen enough with him lately. I
haven't seen a lot of energy around him.
Yeah, if I was,
does seem like the socials are energized around Shapiro.
Yeah, if we are betting, if we're in Vegas just today, right now, I'd put my money on Shapiro if I had to put money down, and in part, I think because it becomes a defense against a potential line of Republican attack. Over the previous 3 to 4 months, we've heard a lot about the Democrat Party being more and more anti-Semitic. What's happened? What's happened with them, and why are they abandoning Jewish voters? You pick Shapiro. Not only does he have the ability to turn Pennsylvania in your favor, he also immediately rebuts that argument. Immediately, even Ted Trimpa here on our program right here after Biden, the morning after the weekend, the Monday morning after Biden steps aside, said Shapiro's the most difficult pick simply because of his Jewish heritage. So will she do that? And for me, if you want to say, hey, I am a leader, I'm charting a new path, and she is going to have to overcome some of her previous positions, especially when he was running against Biden in the previous Democrat primary cycle. And if she wants to prove, hey, I am taking a new direction, that's the pick to take. That's the right one strategically for me this morning. But what do you think?
Well, so I'm going to get a little selfish here on Shapiro in Pennsylvania, because we went J.D. Vance, Ohio.
Yeah.
And it'll likely be Shapiro, Pennsylvania. And Billy, it just feels like it's the same story every election over and over and over again, where it's like, we're going to really fight in Ohio and Pennsylvania over and over and over again. And I remember
Yeah.
I remember sitting here during the last election when Donald Trump in 2020 didn't visit Colorado at all. I remember maybe one time.
Yeah.
He visited one time. And that was basically because Jenna Ellis forced him to land the plane in Colorado Springs. It was like, you can at least do one in Colorado Springs.
That's
Come
right.
on.
Yeah, come on.
So look, Donald Trump's not going to come to Colorado at all. The Republican Party nationally, outside of Gabe Evans and Jeff Hurd, is not going to invest a dime into the state, except for those two races. So I'm going to sit here as a Colorado Republican watching Donald Trump do probably 30 rallies in Pennsylvania and another 30 in Ohio. And I remember sitting there in the last election going, is he just going down the block? Is he doing one rally here and then the next day going down the block to do? It seemed like he did so many rallies in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, and he will not visit Colorado one time.
No, he's like
so
that.
I'm sitting here
He's
going,
like that elderly garage sale couple that get out of the house at like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning, and they know the garage sales in the neighborhood, and so they're just working garage sales. So like, we're this one to this one to this one. That's what they're doing. He's just working the garage sales. That's all he's doing.
So,
yeah,
it's a Colorado Republican. I'm going to sit here and go, well, we're going to have a really fun another election all about Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan, and no one's going to come visit me. And I'm going to do my best for Gabe Evans and Jeff Hurd and Lauren Boebert and Jeff Crank and John Fabricatori and Valdemar Archuleta and the rest of them. But it's just, we're not going to get any attention, and we're back to doing Ohio and Pennsylvania all over again. So that's where I go when I hear Josh Shapiro, and I'm like, Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yep. Here we go again. Yeah. and we're going to have the part that's the hardest is all of those, and I'm using air quotes, human interest stories about what does the average voter think? And it's only someone in Pennsylvania, only someone in Ohio, only someone in Wisconsin. That's it. We don't talk to anybody else, but oh well.
Yeah. Well, there we go. All right. So we're tracking Kamala's social media as well as the Dow Jones, which is now back down to 950 points down. This is just this is not gonna be a good Monday.
No,
I'm telling you. For those of us that are going to be watching our 401ks and our pensions and all that other stuff.
Now, however, if you're an individual stock buyer, there are going to be some values. There are some values that are out there on the table right now based on what is happening. The tech sector is going to get hit. You might be able to pick up some value there. And there are some larger stocks that are trading that are relatively down. As many rocks as I have thrown over the past 6 months on this show at Pepsi Cola, it's a decent value right now to buy. It's a decent value based on where it is. It's been hit by this downfall, but there should be an upswing, and there's some other things I see in front. But that's just my personal opinion.
What I love is that Billy could easily host a soccer talk show, a political talk show, and provide stock tips.
I'm a weird kid. I'm a really
you are
kid.
some unique, my friend.
I was such a strange little kid. I was so bizarre. And I'm just happy that my parents didn't leave me in the woods, because there were times I'm certain I was very, very hard to deal with because of these weird tendencies I have to do. Yeah. But yeah, Pepsi, I think, is good value. There are a couple others out there that,
Well, let's check in on the news with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
You hit it on the head, Jeff. That is so true. Sometimes, man, my brain just explodes at 8 o'clock when Billy starts talking. It's amazing, Billy. Hey, you mentioned Carville. That's a good excuse.
Some of these press conferences, it reminds me of a book they made me read in college called Ship of Food.
Ship of food. It's economy. I can't stand the guy, but I love him at the same time.
I
really do.
He's the uncle that shows up at the family reunion that he's going to get 3 drinks in and he's going to tell everybody that he thinks about him. You're like, none of us really want him there, but boy, is he entertaining. It's exactly
right.
That's who he is.
I honestly, I'm afraid if I drank, I would be that uncle.
Oh
really
yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, but he's kind of hard not to like, but I can't stand it.
Oh yeah, same
thing.
I feel exactly the same way. Exactly the same way.
All right, guys, 75 and sunny, expecting a high of 94 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story is Jeff and Bill were just talking about Wall Street opening with stocks sharply lower. This comes as, no pun intended, as global market sell-off is taking place based on fears of a recession in the U.S. investors And U.S. investors believe that the Federal Reserve may be too late when it comes to cutting rates. The Dow opened the session more than 1,100 points, down more than 1,100 points. The S&P 500 was down over 3%, and the NASDAQ was down over 800 points. Denver police looking for the suspect in a Green Valley Ranch homicide that occurred last night. They're investigating a shooting in the 4800 block of North Argonne Way, east of Pena. Police located one victim who later died at the hospital. No arrests have been made, and police haven't released any information on the suspect. The sky is blue. It is a beautiful morning, and the mountains can be seen up and down the Front Range as the rain on Sunday has really helped with the three biggest wildfires in the area. The Corey fire is 35% contained. The Stone Canyon fire near Lyons is fully contained, and evacuees are returning to their homes. The Alexander Mountain fire west of Loveland is 54% contained, and some people are able to return to their homes. Authorities searching for arson suspects in all of the fires. President Biden meeting with his national security team today as there's growing fears of an attack by Iran on Israel. Tensions in the Middle East are high following the recent killings of a senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon and Hamas's top political leader in Iran. Iran and its allies have blamed Israel and are threatening to retaliate. The U.S. is now sending more fighter jets and warships to the region. Former President Trump continues his fight against the deep state and communism in Georgia over the weekend.
Kamala's radical ideas belong in a San Francisco commune filled with far-left freaks, but they do not belong in the White House. They do not belong in the United States of America. This November, Georgia is going to tell Kamala that we will not let her turn America into a communist country. For years, she has pushed legislation to strip police officers of any protection. They have no protection. Anything they do, they get sued, they go bankrupt, they lose their house, they lose their family, they lose their pension. They ruin their lives. They want to ruin their lives. She was the worst at ruining police officers. And when I'm president of the United States again, we will never defund the police. We will only overfund. We're going to overfund the police if we have to.
I like that. Overfunding the police, that's a winner. We'll see. Broncos training camp continues at their ridiculously long corporate name facility, Dove Valley to me. The Gray Randy Gradishar inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Padres beat the Rockies 10-2. Team USA's Noah Lyles is the fastest man in the world. He won the gold medal in the 100 meters with a time of 9.79 seconds. 70 in Lafayette, 73 in Glendale, 75 in Denver. Jeff and Bill continue.
Old white guys, good old white guys, young white guys.
Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Subtropical moisture is going to be overhead this week, so thunderstorm chances are going to be good, especially second half of the week. Still warm, low to mid-90s today, 60s tonight, and low to mid-90s for tomorrow, and low to mid-90s Wednesday. Today through Wednesday, a handful of afternoon and evening scattered showers and thunderstorms. A cooling trend, showers and thunderstorms increasing Thursday and Friday. Weather sponsored by BranchPlanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at BranchPlanning.com or call 720-651-9800. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're tracking the Dow, and it's not doing good today. We're down 950 points as it kind of bouncing around. And we could be heading into a recession. A lot of the news, especially after the jobs report that took place on Friday, jobs are not coming in the way they expected, and it'll probably be adjusted even down further later as we get closer to the election. But look, we're less than 100 days out from this election. And I think the average voter that's gone through the Biden years is paying more money as a result of inflation than they did 4 years ago. A lot of the people I know are working 2 jobs to just try to live the same way they did a few years ago. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump's got all the solutions to fix this, but my question electorally is, how does Kamala Harris survive this? If things are if we're heading into a recession and we don't bounce back between now and November, and things are looking pretty bleak on top of everything we've gone through the last 4 years, what's the argument to continue with her? How does she get out of this? Billy, what do you think?
Well, here's the weakness, I think, in standing around and saying, you're paying too much, economy bad. The fundamentals of the economy still are strong, even though the average voter doesn't understand what those are or how. The problem that I believe the GOP is going to have in pointing out the economic numbers is the lack of a solution. And that's going to be difficult because you can complain about it all the time, but I have yet to hear anything that Trump would do that would appreciably change what's going on right now. And
I'm not sure tariffs are going to add to it.
And tariffs are going to make it worse.
Better.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, I look at tariffs the same way as I look at minimum wage. Is this ends up becoming a tax on all the consumers that use those prices or use those products? You've seen that in California now, where you're having people lose their jobs and costs are going up, all related to. I mean, a big push in minimum wage that took place here, $20 minimum wage in the state of California. So I don't look, you were right when we had Heritage on the other day and you were challenging them going, well, no, actually oil production is pretty good under Biden.
Yeah,
and you're right about that, right? They're taking advantage of the leases. And I don't know if those leases came previously, but Kamala Harris had to change her position on fracking.
Yeah.
She wanted to ban fracking.
Yep.
Now she's going, well, we got to get Pennsylvania, so we're going to open up fracking. And now I'm for fracking. I don't know if that works. I've seen political strategists go back and forth on that, going, Kamala Harris never should have done this because, look, Republicans were going to attack her anyways on energy because we're so pro-energy that if you're not with us, then we're able to attack you on it. So I don't know what Kamala does with regards to Trump. I think Trump's only argument is going to be reduce taxes, right? And so that we can free up businesses, and the regulation argument is because he's not good on spending. I'll give you that much. He's not going to help us on the economy with spending because during his first term, he would spend a ton of money, put our country into further and further debt. So his argument can't be, well, we're going to reduce the government spending, or at least it wasn't under his first term. So I think his financial arguments are going to be reduce regulation, which does help. That absolutely is going to help businesses, and maybe unleash more and more energy, even more than Biden has done.
Yeah,
so I think those are his two arguments, right?
Those are really good arguments, and they're strong ones. And this is why we are not good. This is why, again, I'm going to say we have zero journalists inside of our country left, because when Trump says those, the two things that should be the follow-ups are, first, how is this increased energy production going to change the prices that I'm paying for eggs and cereal and stuff at the grocery store? Or how is it going to make housing more affordable? And the other question I would have would be, I don't need specifics, but what industry is being so regulated that these costs are going up so high? Show me the correlation or the causation between the two, that these government regulations are the reason that we are getting pinched so much. And again, we talked PepsiCo right before Blake's news, and I've brought up Pepsi, that the fact that, what was it, previous quarter, I think their sales were up around 1%, but that is on the back of a 13% price increase in 3 months. They didn't increase sales. They increased revenue growth on 1% because they increased their pricing by 13% in 3 months that we're paying at the store. Now, if there is an increase in production of energy, Pepsi's not lowering those prices. And if there is a reduction in regulations, Pepsi's not lowering those prices. That's not why they were increased in the first place. And that's going to be the problem. Now, again, that is anecdotal because it is just one example. And there could be some relief somewhere. But that's the problem is I think in order for the Republicans to say, we are going to get the economy back rolling, they're going to have to close the deal by telling people how. There are going to be a lot of people that are nostalgic for the Trump years, but they need to tell you how.
So I definitely get that argument. But here's my question, Billy, and maybe they don't have to. Maybe there's just a feeling that people have that under Republicans, businesses are going to be less regulated, less taxed, people are going to be less taxed, and therefore things are going to improve. So can they just get by on general branding?
So vibes. You're talking about vibes.
Vibes, sure. yeah,
vibes. You know, I think you got something there, my friend. I really do think you have something there because I do believe that, again, while I say the economy right now, the fundamentals are strong, there is a nostalgia for the Trump economy, however misplaced it is. Because if you go back and look at it, we weren't all rolling around in cash. It wasn't, given the measurements that you have against the Biden administration, many times, I mean, I hate to say it, many times the Biden economic numbers will look better, even though they don't feel better. And that'll be the thing. But yeah, I think you had a point there that
can they get by on
vibes?
That?
Yeah, I think they can get by on vibes. The idea is, didn't you feel better back then? And if I felt better, yeah, I might just vote for you. That's an excellent point. They can just vibe their way through this one. Yeah.
Give us a call, 303-696-1971. We're monitoring the Dow today, already down over 900 points as fears are that we're entering a recession. But we have a really good text message here from Jason. Denver, the Fed will lower the rates in September or before, and the stock market will rally, and all will be forgotten and forgiven by October.
That's interesting. That can happen. Yeah, that can, because it depends. I still think that the shakiness that we're seeing right now, I think, has to do with a lack of a rate cut. And money is too expensive to purchase, to borrow right now, not purchase, to borrow right now. And I think that's what the slowdown is. If we would go back, 12, 18 months, we remember every economist in the world said that we were heading for a recession. Yeah. And we didn't.
Felt like it.
Yeah. And we didn't at all. In fact, it went the other direction. And one of the most complicated things people have been talking about with Biden right now is, can he manage this, quote, soft landing coming out of the hard unemployment numbers and other squeezes on the economy? Because 9 times out of 10, if you want to lower interest rates and you want to lower prices, you have to have large scale unemployment, not massive, not like 50% of the economy has to lose, but you would assume if you're going to drive down interest rates, rather than seeing about a 3 to 5% unemployment rate, you'd had to have something near to like 10, 12, 15. That will push interest rates going the other direction much more quickly. And that's been one of the weird things inside of this, because economists will tell you full employment is considered between 3.5% to 5% unemployment, because you should have about that number of people in the job market transitioning. Yep. And that also continues to buoy wages, because if nobody's transitioning, then wages don't go anywhere because you're not competing for workers. So that's part of how it still grows. Yeah.
Gabe texted, this is a great text, though. Now that we're talking about finance, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is debt.
Ooh, good one. God, that's hard to deal with, though.
Here,
it's a good one, though.
Gabe, you're right. This is the elephant in the room. We are careening towards a cliff. I am deeply concerned about it. We've crossed $35 trillion in debt. I think we're somewhere around 75% of our taxes are now going to cover interest rates. Or interest on our debt. It is crazy right now. Years ago, I met with a number of folks about the debt, and they were trying to raise concerns about this debt. And I just brought this question to them: how has your life changed now that we're in $35 trillion of debt? that it wasn't when we were $28 trillion in debt.
Damn.
Right, that's $7
a hard
trillion,
question.
right?
Yeah.
And for you talk to the average person, on the street, and their life hasn't changed really at all. So why would they care that much? So this is the problem. We're careening towards this. Eventually, you can't have unlimited debt, right? Because then money's just funny money. It's monopoly money, whatever. You can burn it.
Now, Jeff, I got to interrupt you just for a sec here.
Yeah.
Just for a second, I have to tell you that example of how your life has changed between when we were at X debt number and now we're at Y debt number may be the most simple yet genius explanation as to why we don't care. I mean, I just high five, my friend, because I've never heard anybody else crystallize it so well into a single question. And that is the question, is regardless of how much debt our government runs up, they appear to be just fine taking out loans and printing more money. So you're right. Your life, my life, and our listeners' lives don't change. It's a great point.
But at the same time, there's a cliff somewhere, right? At some point, this thing can't sustain itself and crashes. And that's something we're going to put on our kids and our grandkids. So anybody with any type of fiscal sanity is concerned about it, but you don't know where the edge is, and it hasn't made huge differences in our lives. So we just kind of continue to walk down this road.
It would be like one of your children getting out of college, and you can see them living a lifestyle that is well beyond what their income is, but they keep putting it on the credit card, and they keep putting it on credit cards, and they're taking out these loans, they're taking out this type of loan, and somehow, some way, there's no negative financial consequences. They keep clearing rent, they keep feeding themselves, they keep going on vacations, and they have a car. You're like, I have no idea how this person's doing it, but somehow they're making it work. So it's much harder for you to come in and go, got to stop that. Bad things are going to happen. And just like you, I, and our listeners, and all Americans turn around and go, what bad things? Things are cruising along just fine right now. And every couple of months, I get more free stuff from politicians. So, well, what's the negative? We don't see the negative. You're right.
So the Dow is down 1,000 points now. It is not looking good. That's a 2.52% drop. And we're just only a few hours into the trading session. Not even an hour into the trading session. So it's going to be a rough day. But Iggy calls you the Oracle of Denver, Bill, and he would like to know which stocks you're buying.
I have my eye on a few. There's a couple that I'm looking at the dip right now. I think there could be some finds in the tech sector. I'm a huge fan of, and again, I'm not a financial guru. I'm not an investment broker. You really should not look at anything that I'm saying as truth, correct, or even right. And you should always do your own research on these recommendations to see if they fit your needs. Okay, good. I think that covers me legally. Now, I like NVIDIA right now. I think that they're going to be hit very, very hard as this thing settles. I think the price will dip, and there could be some opportunities there. The reason I like NVIDIA is because they are the only ones that are making the chip that the AI researchers need. They're the only supplier. And when you can find a single supplier for anything, that's a valuable stock. Don't put all your retirement in it. That has got some tremendous potential. I don't know what healthcare is doing. I would love to see something. Amgen is one of my absolute all-time favorite stocks. I love me some Amgen. Overpriced right now. If this brings the price back into line and their price yield, their PE curve looks better, that's a really nice one. I like Pepsi right now. I also think there's some value plays. If you're looking at short term, if you're looking at something that is 12 months or so, do not discount Waste Management or Abercrombie and Fitch. They're doing weird things. There's some stuff there. Abercrombie's been a lot of fun. I've been watching that for like 6-7 months. That one's a lot of fun. It's doing some weird things and has some growth in nice areas. But I hate timing the market. So you might be a little more, if you're skittish, those may not be the ones to look at, but those are really interesting ones. And also I think that I don't know where things are going right now, but there may be some opportunity in corporate bonds. I would stay away from T-bills at this point, but I do like some of the longer term corporate bonds because interest rates are going to drop when we hit September, and that's going to change the corporate bond rate. And on a longer term, something that's like 3 years, 4 years, if you can get the higher interest rate now, I would take it on certain ones, but make sure you are buying solid companies. Don't look for the people that have the highest yield. Look for the company that you trust that then has the highest yield. Short-term bonds are going to be washed. I wouldn't do those on corporate bonds. Short terms, the interest rates are going to be crap. But your long-term, your 3, 4, even 5, I don't know if I do 5, but your 3, 4 years, in the next 3 weeks, you can find some really decent value because you're going to be able to lock in a higher interest rate that you won't get post-September. But again, just an opinion. Don't listen to me at all. Don't do this. Okay, sorry.
Well, and we got a good text message. When might they shut down the market?
I think we'd have to see like a 10,000 point drop or something. I think or 7 or 8. Yeah, I think it would be much larger, and it would have to be a bloodletting just to basically. What you're worried about is the self-fulfilling prophecy, the idea of the snake eating its tail. Is once everything starts falling, you don't want to think that everybody needs to get out. The problem is remember everybody that has 401ks that is invested in mutual funds. That's one of the reasons, in my opinion, that so many politicians want to, and economists want to get Social Security investments into the stock market, because all of our 401ks set an artificial floor because we can't move our own money out of those mutual funds enough. So the people that are doing the actual trading and the people that are making their money on this, we create an artificial floor where it can't drop below a certain area because we can't sell. We don't have that mechanism based on how your investments are. So that's why that's why I don't like the idea of privatizing Social Security, because for me, it creates the ability for the people that are playing the roulette game in Wall Street to be insulated from a lot of their bad choices. I think if you make bad choices, you should be burned. But if we put if we put all of our Social Security investment money in there, the stock market can't ever have a super bad day. Can't ever, because everybody in America loses money. So we would see much more, in my opinion, much more manipulation of the stock market by the government than we do right now if we privatized it. It's not a good thing, but that's just an opinion.
Market-wide circuit breakers provide for cross-market trading halts during a severe market decline as measured by a single-day decrease in the S&P 500 index. A cross-market trading halt can be triggered at 3 circuit breaker thresholds: 7% drop, 13% drop, and 20% drop.
Thank you.
Right now we're at a 3% drop.
Yeah.
These triggers are set by the markets at point levels that are calculated daily based on the prior day's closing price.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nope.
It's much
there you
smarter
go.
than I am.
We have a very
That's
smart
fantastic.
person that texted and who used to host the show.
I want to know, why are you listening? Out there making more money if you know that much
and
about
it always
this.
comes back to snakes with Billy.
Yes, it does. Always does. Always, always, always.
We had another really good point here. Oh goodness. Oh yeah, about the debt. Oftentimes once you reach that point, it's just too late.
That's true. Imagine it with your credit card debt. There is a point in which your income will not allow you to pay down the principal on your credit cards. You can take out enough loans, enough that you can't possibly make enough money. All you can do is pay off interest, and the interest is just going to continue to accumulate. Yeah, absolutely.
Iggy's wondering where you get the time to do all the things you can do. I will tell you on stock, I've made quite a bet on stock, and we'll just see what happens the day after the election, whether my Truth Social purchase will pay off or not.
I did that. I did that. I don't. Okay, I have fun, and so I buy individual and I buy little bits. I don't do a lot of because
me too.
If I can't afford to lose a lot, you don't put a lot in. So this is just for fun, and I've got one share of Truth Social. Yes, one share only because and I bought it at 26. So if it pays off and it does well, great. I'm going to make it a little bit of money.
If he wins the election, you sell the day after.
Oh, yeah.
If he loses the election, you sell the day after.
Exactly. So the idea is it's just, and I call it, and when I talk to my son, I call it bubble gum. I go, there's certain stocks you take that are fun, that you do that are solid. You do the solid ones here, and then you have a couple of bubble gum stocks. And for me, the DJT, that's a bubble gum stock. That's one that's like, hey, if the bubble bursts, if it does something, I get all over my face, that's fine. But I'm not going to put enough money into it for me to be hurt on the other end. But hell yeah, I got me some DJT. Of course.
All of our Democrat listeners are wondering what just happened.
Exactly.
Billy bought DJT.
Of course. Yes.
Text message here. I believe each of Billy's snakes cages are lined with gold bars. Later it'll be revealed that he is the richest person in America.
No way. And my wife is still, every once in a while, we have these moments where she looks at me and she goes, And you know how much those snakes cost? I'm like, yes, okay, you're right, fine. Yeah, that's in our budgetary negotiations.
Give us a call. Let us know, how do you think this is going to affect the election? The Dow down 1,000 points this morning. That's 2.52%. And it's not looking good an hour into the trading day. 303-696-1971. I mean, look, Billy, I don't know if there's anybody listening to this station that was going, well, I was going to vote for Kamala. Now I'm going to vote for Trump. Our listeners tend to be on either side, right? It's like, well, I'm going all in for Kamala, or, clearly DJT is the best guy. But if you are, are there moderates and independents out there after this that are going to go, clearly Kamala can't lead. We've had to deal with a bad economy for the past 4 years and inflation, all that. So no way I'm getting behind her.
And, maybe it's not you, our listeners. Maybe it is someone in your life. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's, mom, dad, uncle, or even a coworker. Who's that person that can be persuaded by these economic numbers? Who is that person? Let us know.
Yeah,
and
we'd love to get to that.
Yeah, and I want to let you know about a pain in my life that is going away. Yes, we've got the economic numbers, and I have found a company, a group of professionals, a medical team that is changing so much inside of my life. It is Balance Wellspace. I want you to talk to the medical team that is making so much of a difference in my life, because I don't have those pains, those aches, those constant reminders of exactly how old I am getting. I have had some big surgeries. We're talking lower back surgery. We're talking big shoulder surgery that took almost 6.5 hours. I've done some stupid things to my body, and that includes more than 500 stitches. So to say that I have aches and pains is an understatement. And I thought that's just how I had to live. I thought that as I got older, well, pain is just going to be an everyday occurrence. That's until I met the team at Balance Wellspace. They're brand new in town. They do great things in Virginia, also in Massachusetts, but they're brand new here. New offices in Lowry, right across from Hangar 2. If you can find the Officers Club at Hangar 2, you can find Balance Wellspace. They're just right across the street. Plenty of parking, and for me, shady trees. I'm so excited when I find a shady tree in the hot summer sun like we have today. Now, also, the biggest thing for Balance Wellspace, it's an entire medical professional team. You go in there, you get a custom evaluation. They ask you about what hurts. They then evaluate what hurts, and they take the x-rays and do the joint thingies and all the stuff. And then they put together a custom plan for you. They look at what's hurting you and how they can make it better. And oh boy, can they make it better. We're talking, oh, that's not good. I just did the traffic thing. So we'll be back in a second.
Want to take your favorite radio station wherever you go? Now, there's an app for that. No matter where you are, stream your favorite shows. Tap the app to listen to podcasts, text message your favorite local hosts, call the show, get the latest headlines, and enter contests to win prizes. All in the palm of your hand. Available now for iOS and Android devices in the App Store or Google Play. And best of all, it's free. Download today.
Well, where were we? Yeah, balanced wall space. Remember that? I'll give you one guess as to which one of the stellar team pushed the wrong button and too stupid to break both rules. That would be me. Hey, it's Bill. And I want to continue talking about balanced wall space because I didn't get to tell you about everything they're doing. Chiropractic, neuropathy, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, regenerative care, trigger point injections, and some incredible advanced modalities. Stuff that many people haven't even heard of. And they've done some amazing things with me. The difference is the pain is gone. And that's what I want you to experience as well. My back used to give me pain every day. Waking up in the morning, it would take 20 minutes or so until it felt just normal. I would sort of shuffle around and I would even sit in the shower for a little while and let that hot water run on my back just so it felt better. My shoulder, they're so screwed up. Anytime the temperature inverted, it ached deep inside. And my collarbone is dislocated from my sternum and it would rub back and forth. And that's a fun thing when it's rubbing bone on bone. That's not happening anymore. What they've been able to do for me is nothing short of remarkable. And it's in less than 2 months. I want them to be able to make the same change in your life as well. Check them out, balancewellspace.com. Dr. Julie, Dr. Jess, the entire medical team. And the best part about it is one stop. You go there, you get all the treatment you need. No more driving all over town. You visit balancewellspace.com. You go to Lowry. They take care of you in one appointment, and every couple of weeks, they reevaluate your treatment to make sure they're doing the best for you. Check them out today, balancewellspace.com, balancewellspace.com. Now back to the guy who doesn't push the buttons and take us to commercial at the wrong time.
Because they don't give me any buttons, Billy.
They shouldn't give me many buttons either. They really shouldn't.
Stocks tumbling around the world down 1,000. Nikkei, how do you pronounce that from
Nikkei.
Japan?
Like me and then K. Yeah.
There you go.
Nikkei.
Nikkei, biggest rout since Black Monday. Magnificent Seven shed $1 trillion. Recession odds climb. Emergency cut rate possibly coming, or emergency rate cut coming. Trading platforms crash. Those are the headlines leading Drudge this morning.
Wow.
Look, I frankly, I just don't trust the Biden-Harris administration to figure this out. I mean, they might be able to cut the rates, but
that rate cut will slow it. It'll slow this transition, and it could really help. But that would also be another market shakeup. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a strange to have the Fed come in and have to make an emergency cut like that is not good. That's never a good thing.
You remember when this happened in 2008 and they like John McCain canceled?
I still have PTSD.
Yeah, but he I'm canceling my campaign, pausing my campaign. I'm heading to Washington, D.C. We need to solve this. Do people trust politicians? I don't trust them.
No.
I don't think Biden and Harris are going to do anything about this.
No, not at all.
And
especially if you can't trust Congress. It's just, it goes back to who is it? Oh, the comedian Gallagher always talks about the idea that you can't trust politicians because when you get 500 people together, the only thing they'll ever agree on is let's raise our pay and go on vacation. That's it. So he's like, that's all.
But Nancy Pelosi is like one of the best stock pickers of all time.
It's
so
weird how
what
that
is she doing right now?
Yeah.
Does anyone know what Nancy isn't there a website that tracks
there's actually
what members of Congress trade?
There's and I don't know the name of it. There is an index fund that you can buy into, and that's what they do. They track the stock picks of the major players. I think they've got 7 or 8 that they follow that do remarkably
Capital
well.
Trades is one of them.
Yeah, I think that's the one. And what they do is they pick like the 7 top earners inside of Congress, and then whatever they buy that thing within 24 hours. And so, and you're invested against a mutual fund, so you're not buying the individual stocks, but you're group purchasing them. So it spreads risk as well. And they've done very, very, very well. Oddly enough. I wonder why that happens.
On July 26, Representative Pelosi disclosed that her spouse had reduced holdings in Microsoft by 5,000 shares.
Ooh.
It's like they almost saw this coming.
Yeah. And
on the same day, Paul
Apple.
Pelosi, Paul Pelosi also diversified his portfolio by investing over 1.1 million in Nvidia.
Yeah.
And the same one you were talking about.
Yeah. And they're fantastic. Now, the other part is, now you remember when we were going into the COVID thing, if you go back and look at those stock trades, it was weird how the majority of them got out of restaurants, entertainment stocks, and all into medical stocks. That's weird. That's very strange. They're so intelligent.
Oh, my goodness. Capital Trades is the website.
There we go.
Where they track all the politicians, because this is going to be a rough day for everybody.
Yeah.
And look, this is what I was wrestling with, Bill.
Yeah, tell me.
Was whether or not the bump around Kamala Harris was real and genuine, or was it just around the idea that we didn't have Joe Biden?
Enthusiasm, yeah.
And are people really that excited about her? We're up against a break here. We'll continue this conversation, but look, are people really excited about Kamala Harris and her leadership, her ability to lead, everything she did in San Francisco and California? Yes, let's replicate that. The border, she did a great job. We can't wait for her to be president. Or are they just happy that Joe Biden's not the candidate and maybe they have a better shot? And in light of what's happening today, is she going to be able to show leadership? I don't think she's shown leadership once ever in her career. And we'll have to see if she's able to get us out of this problem, but I doubt it. All right, we'll continue. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Want to take your favorite radio station wherever you go? Now, there's an app for that. No matter where you are, stream your favorite shows. Tap the app to listen to podcasts, text message your favorite local hosts, call the show, get the latest headlines, and enter contests to win prizes. All in the palm of your hand. Available now for iOS and Android devices in the App Store or Google Play. And best of all, it's free. Download today.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. I got a poll up on my X account. If you go to x.com/Jeff Hunt. Who do you trust more to lead us out of a recession? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Right now, DJT leading 85-15.
Oh, that's a tough
So
one.
Percentage points.
That's a tough one. That's a
You think
really
that's a
good
tough
question.
one? You think
yeah,
Kamala
it is.
Harris can lead us out of her Billy?
No, the issue is this. It's not. Here's the idea: this is the thing is on that you have the assumption that I think either one can do it. I don't think either one can. That's the thing for me.
I think DJT can lead us out, man.
For me,
He's going to fire up that economic engine.
How? And what's he going to do? And that's the thing that we talked about it earlier is what is he functionally going to do? That's the problem is the lack of a solution. I don't think either one of them can lead us out of a recession properly. I have no faith in either one. Yeah, but it's interesting. It's a great question.
I think the reducing regulations, reducing taxes, I think it inspires people. It fires them up. It gives them more optimism about the economy. I don't know, man, because if we get into this spending thing, if we're going to race in there like we did in 2008 and drop trillions of cash, I don't know if it's going to work. We'll have to see. All right, Peter Boyle's coming up next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
9 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. It is Monday, August 5th. Headlines coming out of Drudge this morning. Stocks tumble around the world. Dow down 1,000%. Nikkei, biggest rout since Black Monday. Magnificent Seven shed $1 trillion. Recession odds climb. Emergency rate cut. Trading platforms crash. Not a good day. Not a good day at all. We're going to continue to monitor all of this today, but let's first check in on the news with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy. 81 and sunny outside this morning. Expecting a high of 94 today. The 710 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, the NASDAQ hits a record, down 1,000 points on the day, something that has never been done before. The development comes as investors are fearful of a recession after a dismal jobs report last week. Japanese stocks crash in the biggest single-day drop ever. Also, despite that news, it's a beautiful morning in Denver with the sky blue and the mountains can be seen up and down the Front Range, as the rain on Sunday has been crucial to slowing down the three biggest wildfires in the area. The Quarry Fire is 35% contained. The Stone Canyon Fire near Lyons is fully contained, and evacuees are returning home. The Alexander Mountain Fire west of Loveland is 54% contained, and some people are able to return to their homes. Authorities searching for arson suspects in all of these fires. Hurricane Debbie is moving inland. After making landfall in Florida as a Category 1 storm, the National Hurricane Center says Debbie came ashore this morning in the state's Big Bend area. President Biden meeting with his national security team today as there's growing fears of an attack by Iran on Israel. Tensions in the Middle East are high following the recent killings of Hezbollah Islamo-Nazis in Lebanon and Hamas's top thug in Iran. Iran and its allies have blamed Israel, of course, and are threatening to retaliate. They never quit. They never want peace, ever. Former President Trump continues his fight against the deep state commies here in this country. Harris, Biden, they're all the same.
They love dealing with low IQ people, and they got them here. I'll tell you, we got them all. She is terrible. She's worse than he. I think she's worse than him. By the way, they really took it away from the guy, right? I don't feel sorry for him because he's a bad guy. You know, he's weaponized the whole thing, and nobody's ever done that in this country. But he's a bad guy. But people feel sorry for him. They did a coup. He just doesn't know it. But actually, he does know it. You know that. They said, Joe, you got 14 million votes. It's yours, but you're going to give it up. You're going to give it up right now, Joe. You're giving it up right now. No, you're giving it up, Joe. We're either going to do it the nice way or the hard way, Joe. You're getting the hell out. Head hate on me. Can't stop DJ T, and I ain't going nowhere, so you can get to know me.
And Tom Cotton hits a good one.
She's only had one single unscripted moment Thursday night at Andrews Air Force Base, welcoming those hostages back. And she served up the kind of incomprehensible word salad for which she's become famous. When she has to encounter the media, and I'm sure you're going to insist that she does, she's going to have to answer for things like why she wants to eliminate oil and gas production in this country, why she wants to ban gas-powered cars, why she wants to confiscate private firearms.
Man. And I had it, guys, and it just crashed. All right, Broncos training camp continues. The great Randy Gradishar inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Padres beat the Rockies 10-2. Team USA's Noah Lyles is the fastest man in the world. He won the gold medal in the 100 meters with a time of 9.79 seconds. 76 in Arvada, 78 in Lone Tree, 81 in Denver. Jeff and Bill. Continue.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, you did, Kamala, however I should pronounce it. You did. And now we're supposed to forget all that stuff.
Man, I love that one. Woo! All right, have a great Monday. Blake Olson, News Talk.
Hey, Blake,
710.
there
Yes.
was a There's an article in the New York Times over the weekend about how racist it is to mispronounce her name.
Oh,
And
yeah.
The argument they make is that I'm not kidding you. This is the line in the article. It's like her name is Sanskrit. And for those of you that don't speak it, you put the emphasis on the beginning part of it, whereas in traditional English, you put it on so it'd be Kamala instead of Kamala.
Yes.
But yeah, for those of you who don't speak Sanskrit.
What? My goodness, man. They're reaching. Nobody can pronounce it. Right when you get it, you mess it up the next day. It's just
yes.
It's so racist. And then you hear this.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Kamala, however I should pronounce it, you did. And now,
or
we're
you
supposed to
non-native
vote.
Sanskrit speakers.
That's right, Sanskrit. Oh, man, I love it, man. Have a good day. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Tropical moisture is going to be overhead this week, so thunderstorm chances are going to be good, especially second half of the week. Still warm, low to mid-90s today, 60s tonight, and low to mid-90s for tomorrow, and low to mid-90s Wednesday. Today through Wednesday, a handful of afternoon and evening scattered showers and thunderstorms. A cooling trend, showers and thunderstorms increasing Thursday and Friday. Weather sponsored by BranchPlanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at BranchPlanning.com or call 720-651-9800. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Billy got a good text message here from the bread man. Jeff Sturgis would make a good movie. You'd have to get a tattoo. Be like Borat. Well, speaking of Sturgis, our good friend and radio legend Peter Boyles joins us live from Sturgis. Pete, how's it going up there?
Good morning, guys. Actually, wonderful. Let me introduce who you're looking at in the shot. On my right is retired Major General True Iyer. He's with us every year. He's the head of the Colorado Guard and wonderful motorcyclist. His wife is like better than any of us. On my left, I talk about it on the radio show all the time. Ken Deal, retired head of the U.S. Marshals. Ken and I and some friends rode up here, and we're staying with the general and his wife. So in the backdrop, we're actually in Rapid City. I'm looking at this picture, I'm thinking, as a history buff, there was this great picture of Joe Stalin, FDR, Stalin, FDR, and Churchill, and that's kind of what it looks like. And the backdrop is True's place, and there's a lake back there, and we're actually in Rapid City. And guys, next year is the 85th anniversary, and so we've been talking. We were with a great friend of ours last night who was up here in the early part of the 70s as a GI, as an academy graduate, and they were telling stories. So Sturgis stories are legend. And and I got my new glasses. Yeah, yes, sir.
Pete, give people like myself who don't own a motorcycle and don't know what you guys do up there. What is Sturgis? What do y'all do up there? What do you get together and do for a few days?
Well, let's turn it over to the boss. He'll tell you what he does. Watch this.
I'm not the boss. Sturgis is just it's a gathering of like-minded people who ride motorcycles, basically. And it started years and years ago. It started actually in Deadwood, South Dakota. And finally Deadwood said, no, you're not doing it here. So they moved down to Sturgis. Sturgis didn't want them, but eventually realized that the money and that it was going to bring to the local economy made it worthwhile to do so. And it's a group of guys that wanted to ride motorcycles together. And actually they were celebrating racing motorcycles. That's what really started the party. And it's just a tradition now that's carried on, this year being the 84th year. So to me, the best part of the whole deal is riding in the Black Hills. I mean, the Black Hills are an amazing part of our country. You can see why the Sioux and the Lakota wanted this area forever because it is so beautiful. But that's what we do up here. We ride motorcycles through the Black Hills and stop at places of ill repute, if you will, and have a fun.
And I want to get Ken, when Ken's been coming up here for a long, long time as well, and his perspective on it too. First of all, do you guys think this is a normal average year, down a little bit, or up some?
Well, I think it's actually down a little bit, but each year varies as far as the riders. Sometimes it's actually kind of nice, like this year, there's not as many riders, so you can actually enjoy the rides without sitting in parade rest in a lot of areas. But yeah, it's down a little bit. But really, to be honest with you, it's still a great time to be up here. I mean, it doesn't matter how many people are here. You have to do your thing and just have a great time.
The numbers vary year to year. Like Kenny said, this being the 84th anniversary, that's not a special year, but 85th will be special. The 90th will be special. But anywhere from 200 to 400,000 bikes in a week in this area of, say, 70 miles by 20 miles.
And Jeff and Bill, and I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, do they still do the racing?
Oh, they race down. They're having a TT actually on the streets of Sturgis. And they're still flat tracking and hill climbing. Yep. And there was a guy named Pappy Hoyle, actually an Indian dealer, doing the Great American
Indian motorcycle.
We had a moment where we had to learn that. But
clarity here.
Yeah, thank you. And an Indian dealer, that'll live. And they wanted to do a race to generate, as the general said, people coming here to see the races. And they were these guys called the Jack Pine Gypsies. And Jack Pines are these tiny little scrub pines that are up in the Black Hills. And it's a wonderful legacy. I mean, it's just, and the racing and it continues and they flat track, but that's only a small part of it now that's turned into concerts. And I mean, if you don't get the culture,
you won't understand it.
You won't understand. Remember, Lou Armstrong said about jazz, if you have to ask, you can't know. So, we used to bring a radio show up here, Jeff. You guys ought to come up and do a show.
Yeah, I think Jeff needs a tattoo. Yes,
and then
absolutely.
I get a tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any. Pete could educate me in that. Pete, how many years have you been doing it?
I was trying to think about that.
1876.
Yeah.
I kind of started back then. First one was 1876.
Me and Pappy.
When he was an Indian dealer.
Yeah. Thank you. I think 23 to 27 years. I'm not real sure. We used to bring the radio show up here, and then we did we used to have a syndicated motorcycle show on Jones Network, and we did that up here, and we did some television up here, and you find out that you're really working, and so I kind of let that go. And it's been you boys need to come up here, and you need to get some action.
Oh yeah, we should do that. We should have a contest and allow the listeners to choose Jeff's tattoo.
It would end up being Kamala freaking Harris, man, is going to get tattooed.
Your lower back. On your lower back.
Yes, right back there. Absolutely. Oh my God. That's
Billy,
fantastic.
you a motorcycle rider?
I have been on motorcycles. I wish I could, but as I said, my wife told me as soon as the first child was born, nope, can't do that. My dad had a motorcycle, and that was the rule from my mom when I was born. She was like, well, congratulations, you're now a new father. Sell the bike. I ran around our house in my dad's old motorcycle helmet for years because I loved it. And I borrowed friends during teenage and early 20s, never actually purchased one. Love it. But I still have kids in the house, and I really, really like being married. So I do not own a motorcycle. If I did, I would have my own apartment. Yeah, and be divorced.
So, boys, now the culture up there is that you guys are getting in fights and they're scantily clad bikini biker babes and all that stuff. Is that happening up there? You got the chains to go get in a fight?
closer than you know.
Yeah, you are moments away from. Yeah, the bikini clad is now painted bikini clad. So now it's just paint. But there's some, you sit there and you're kind of going, wow, all right, here it is.
When she first came up here, she had an eagle tattooed here, and now it's a pelican. No, it's not what people think.
You can make of it up here what you want. If you want to get into the rabble rousers and the more scuzzy kind of light way, you can find that. But in all honesty, there's families up here. The Black Hills and Mount Rushmore, the whole area is a very family camp kind of friendly place, and they're still here. They don't leave just because the bikes roll in town. So the culture has really changed. This is my 28th year in a row, and just in those years, I've seen it change. Where now it really is a lot more family friendly, and you don't have to get into the dirtier sides, if you will. There's plenty to do up here that is a lot of fun, a lot of clean, healthy fun. And again, just riding your bike in the Black Hills, that's the coup de grace.
And it's pretty respectful. I mean, everybody kind of respects everybody else's space and understands why you're here.
And that's the biker culture as well. As everybody takes care of each other. A bike breaks down, you'll see 4 or 5 other bikes pull over and go, "Hey, can I help? What can we do?" That's just the way they are. They take care of each other.
Now,
for real, you guys.
Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just going to say, this is like Vegas after the mob gets driven out. And there's legendary stories about the 40s and the guys after the Second World War, or after the Korean War, or after Southeast Asia. And now we were in this place called the Gas Monkey. What was it called?
The Gas Monkey?
Where we were yesterday. And there was a bunch of guys, and there's a motorcycle club, combat veterans, and they met the man, and everybody's laughing and scratching. You think, oh, this isn't how this place is portrayed, but it's exactly what it was. Instant friendships and comrades. And 2 years ago, Ken and we met a coal miner from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And it was like he came out riding from West Virginia with his wife. And that kind of thing is far more prevalent than some bugs. Far more prevalent than, you know what? I've never seen a fight up here in all the years. Unless there was a place.
Pete, you never got in a fight? I thought you would have gotten in a fight during those early years.
No.
Have you seen him fight?
So, how many Kamala Harris bumper stickers are you guys seeing up there at Sturgis? Is that a place where she's going to find a lot of fans?
Yeah, lots of up here. That's all they talk about. It's just they love her.
Yeah, they misspell her name. It's
amazing with the C, and it's really weird.
You can buy some really interesting shirts with her name on it.
We'll put it this way: South Dakota is Trump country.
I was going to say it's Trump country. I think Kristi Noem typically heads up there. Are you going to see any politicians up there?
No, but a lot of dead dogs. Really sad. In the field.
Oh, that's great.
Ouch.
You know what's cool though? It's Americana. Everywhere you ride, there's flags up. People, they fly the American flag up here. They really do, and it's not just for Bike Week.
Yeah, and it's not just for Trump. They're just Americans. They like the flag.
I talk about this man and his tradition and his career. I've ridden up here with him 4 years, Kenny and I. We go buy flags. There's a cemetery out here, veteran cemetery. Man, always slips. And I guess I'm going public with something that's very private to you. But I watch this man, and I think, wow, that dedication, and that's reflected up here. I mean,
the people up here are fantastic. I mean, this whole area, the region. It's really
it's refreshing.
Yeah,
put it that way.
You kind of feel it.
A little different than our blue state. I'll just leave it at that.
You can tell. You can sense. We were downtown last night, all of us, and went to dinner and saw these new places to be and hang out and see people, our other friends. And it's just, guys, I've truly, I've seen people get like semi-hostile to each other, but for bumping into somebody or something. But
yeah,
there's a real sense of community up there. There's a real sense of it. I love what General was saying about the difference between the red and the blue states. Is there's this idea walking around inside of the red states of a sense of togetherness and community, where you get into some of the blue states and there's more of an adversarial relationship, that rather than walking down the street and looking at the person there and smiling at them and giving them the nod, you're looking at them going, are they going to hit me with something? It's a totally different mindset.
Yeah, it's like it's more self-serving than it is the community.
There's open carry. You and I there, and you said, look, the guy was doing open carry.
Yes, open carry.
Open carry.
No, it was a gal.
It was a gal.
Yeah. She had it on her back. She didn't have much clothing on, but she had her gun.
Yeah, that's right. We're sitting there. The better to have it, not need it, right?
Yeah.
But it's really
Pete, you've been going up there for over 20 years. I was a river guide for many years, and there's always a story or two if people ask me that I could recall some of the moments that I will never forget being on the river all those years. With all the years you've been up there, give me a story or two you'll never forget from Sturgis.
I think I've told you a story. Dan Haggerty, who was Grizzly Adams, he's gone now, was a friend, and he was friends with Robbie Knievel, Evel Knievel's son, and he was going to jump that night, and they were staying here in Rapid City, and I was in Deadwood doing radio stuff, and we would go to downtown, do more radio stuff. So I got invited, and it was a party, and Robbie Knievel was this way. And I said, there is no way Robbie's going to jump tonight. He's jumping at midnight. And they had media here, you got to show up. Well, right now it's windy up here, but you could go like this, you couldn't find wind. So there's a bunch of people waiting for Robbie to jump. And the guy goes, it's too windy tonight for Robbie to jump. Next night, Robbie jumped, and he's gone now too as well.
Wow.
With these guys, we got great stories. And,
some of the campgrounds up here have some great stories, like the Buffalo Chip. We were over there the other day. One of the oldest campgrounds in the area here, but the concerts and some of the shenanigans that go on with some of the traditional groups, Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top, and some of those guys. There's some stuff that goes on in the campground that are pretty wild and fun.
They have their own police. They have their own zip code. They, if they need to call, backup cops in, they will. But I'll tell you what, they're no-fly zones, man. It's like you walk into campgrounds. There's one called Glencoe that it was a sofa. That was a motorized sofa. And we were out there. And
a motorized sofa.
Motorized sofa. And there was like women with they were not underwear models, and they were driving the sofa around with not much laundry on. And I'm going, but
it's like Burning Man meets, the Terminator. Dirty, a lot of dirt. Going, yeah, that's something else.
You have my attention.
But it isn't even what people think.
But again, you can make it what you want. Right. I got to tell you, today, 1:00 this afternoon, we're going out on one of the big lakes up here on a pontoon boat with 10 people that are up here for the rally.
To the greatest
fried chicken ever.
Wow. Yeah, there's a marina up It cooks fried chicken. It's the best chicken you ever had in your life. Really, and we're taking it out on the pontoon boat. So there's a lot to do other than just go to a bar in Sturgis.
Yeah.
Wow.
These guys
that sounds like it.
And they said, this is the greatest fried chicken. Kenny and I had never been there. We rode our motorcycles out there. Unbelievable. Yeah. The greatest fried chicken ever being cooked on a lake out here. Yep.
Now, Pete, is there like a rivalry between the Harley and the Indians riders?
Yeah.
Not the. Well, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because everybody talks about, I can't bring a foreign-made bike up here. We have seen, it's really, like I said, when you look at the biker community, maybe back in the early days, when we,
Oh, yeah.
you know, when they used to burn them on.
They used to burn them.
them on
They
Main
would
Street,
pull these bikes and they'd stack them up in the street park and
and they burn the Japanese bikes and the riders stand there. There's nothing you.
Yep.
But you don't see that nowadays. You just see everything up here, from
Every kind of bike.
hand built to corporate. But there is, I don't know. I think there's always this underlying. Well, you're riding this, and I'm on a Harley. I think when you talk to certain people, the brand itself is the icon, and that is the bike of choice. But they're accepting of everything on two wheels.
Yeah.
You know, it's there. I mean, but they're accepting.
It's sublime. Yeah. It's an undercurrent, you know, but I mean, no, I don't give grief to anybody that rides a motorcycle. I don't care what kind of bike you ride. So.
What was the, when they were telling stories last night, what did they call the expert? The guy was building that bike and then he traded it in. What did they call it? He did that name last night.
Oh,
with the experiment or what?
Yeah.
Sucker?
No. But they were trying to build a motorcycle and the guy was relentless. Yeah. And Vinny Terranova, who many people in Colorado, he's got an old Indian motorcycle. And it's a 47, it's a tank shifter. They've been trying to get that thing started for 2 days. And that's the love of it. You know, like these are old motorcycles. And, you know, we're going to, when we get back in 2 weeks, we start the biker brunch down at the Black IP. And I'm in contact with these, met these guys, the Antique Motorcycle Association of Colorado.
Oh, nice.
They got, the guys, they got incredible old motorcycles and European Vincents and, you know, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna start doing a bike show. But they're here. There's motorcycles that you're just stunned at. So much money.
Now, General Pete and Marshall, I got a question for you guys, because, you know, Jeff and I are not riders. What I would want to know from each one of you is, what is it about riding the motorcycle that's special to your soul? What is it that is that feeling that brings you back and gets you back on that bike over and over and over again? And why are Harleys the best?
Well, for me, I think it's you're out in the open air. The wind is, well, I wear a helmet, but the wind is blowing through your hair. You know, the wind is blowing around you. The sights and the sounds and the smells are out here, and you're just in a connection. I mean, I was a fighter pilot. I flew F-16. You feel a connection with the airplane. I feel a connection with my bike as I ride through the Black Hills or wherever, winding roads and the trees going by and the sun shining on you, and there's just a connection that you feel with moving across the earth, per se.
Kenny? Yeah, same thing. It is a mindset, and I think what it does, it gives you that peace. You're always kind of like trying to, I don't want to say escape or ride away from, but it gives you an opportunity to think, because you're in the moment. You're thinking about what's happening that you don't get when you're driving a car, where you have a lot of distractions and you're in this protective bubble. You are exposed, and what happens outside happens to you. And I think it's that piece that everybody gets. And I don't think it's a show thing where, hey, I drive up and want to show things off. I think everybody who rides a motorcycle gets this euphoric feeling of being free. You know, when they talk about freedom in riding, there's something to be said about that. You know, yeah, we can all go ride on every road in America and stuff like that in our cars and things like that. But on a bike, there is something unique about being connected to nature. It's maybe like back in the old days when they were riding horses and stuff like that. It's like there is that connection, and maybe these are our horses. You know, this is how we move around the country nowadays. So there's that feeling. You know, I took a month-long trip in May, you know, just to get out and you see these little towns. It's not all interstate. You see all these little towns and how people react to you and where you go. And it connects you with the country, you know, that I don't think that you can really, truly appreciate. I was in the Badlands yesterday, and I'm watching a lot of tourists go through the Badlands in their cars, and they're exceeding the speed limit. They're racing to one point to the next. But I intentionally went a little slower because it gives you an opportunity to really take in the scenery and understand what's going on around you. And it's no different than what we talk about riding through the Black Hills. You actually are there and seeing it. You know, it's probably why a lot of people hike, because you're connected. So that's just my thing.
There's I call it a Zen moment. Excuse me. When you and the bike become one, or me and my skis, or these, because you become one. And there's something like there's a chairlift in Winter Park that when I get off and the sky's like it is now, and the snow's new snow and it's been groomed, and there's this moment, and you can see across, and the native people call it the Never Summer Range is over there, and I think of people that aren't with me anymore, and those skis track down. Same thing. Kenny and I talk about it. Jenna and I talk about it. You go to Cheyenne. You're coming here. Stop and eat breakfast. Make a right turn, and it's into the sun.
Yeah.
And I've always said that crossing Wyoming, and you shut all the sound down except you're listening to your motor, and you know why the native people, Kenny said this earlier, fought so hard to keep it. You become one with it. You really, truly do. And and Louis Armstrong, I think, or Louis Armstrong, being like Louis, if you have to ask, there's no way I can tell you. But these guys have come up so many different walks of life, physicians, and judges, and plumbers, and it's just the commonality is the motorcycle.
Well, and the second part of your question there, Billy, about why Harley Davidson. First, the Indians were American made, but I think Harley Davidson, American made, is a very reliable bike, and they're getting to the point now where they are so reliable. They're in the old days, you used to have to rent your bike a lot. These bikes nowadays, computer driven, and they're so reliable. They're comfortable. They're big and sturdy, and I just think there's a heritage that's built up. Like a Ford truck or something like that. It's just one of those things in America that's Harley Davidson, and
that's right.
No hit on Indians or BMWs or Hondas or anything like that. It's Harley Davidson is America's motorcycle. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's like the rumble of the V8 engine. Same thing. There's a rumble with a Harley that's unlike anything else.
It's like Chevy guys like Chevys, Ford guys like Ford.
Yeah.
Harley Davidson. The tailpipe noise is potato.
Yeah,
and they copied. Right. There were foreign-made bikers for foreign-made motorcycle companies that were trying to steal the sound of the exhaust of the big two-cylinder bikes. And again, there's a oneness. The only way there's a zen to it.
Wow.
By the way,
it sounds like just pure Americana, which I love and our country sure needs. General, Pete, Marshall, you guys have a blast up there.
Much.
I hope we can check in with you later this week. Give us an update on how things are going, and maybe send us some of that fried chicken. But I appreciate you guys being on the Jeff and Bill show today.
Thank you so much.
See you guys before when I get back, because I got some shirts for everybody. So I maybe see you Friday morning.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Good to see
Thank
your
you
face.
guys.
Thank you
Have
guys.
a lot of fun
That's
up there, and
fantastic.
be safe.
Yeah,
And stay away from
appreciate
the
it.
painted ladies. Want to talk to you all about QC Kinetics. Look, pain from arthritis is just awful. Bone on bone, constant pain. It robs you of so much of the stuff you love to do. But there are effective ways to deal with that pain that doesn't require drugs or surgery. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief, and the place to go, QC Kinetics. Look, I had a family member had his knee replaced the other day. It's a 6-week recovery. He turned to me and just said, don't ever have this done if you can avoid it. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. It doesn't require surgery, pain pills, or steroids, and those are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. This is the future of medicine. For your free consultation, give them a call at 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986 or QCkinetics.com. QCkinetics.com. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Want to take your favorite radio station wherever you go? Now, there's an app for that. No matter where you are, stream your favorite shows. Tap the app to listen to podcasts, text message your favorite local hosts, call the show, get the latest headlines, and enter contests to win prizes. All in the palm of your hand. Available now for iOS and Android devices in the App Store or Google Play. And best of all, it's free. Download today.
I can do it over. to the station, and because we get all their text messages.
Yeah.
But that is awesome. If you're heading out there, give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. Gabe texted us, this is a real bike. A 6-cylinder Honda Valkyrie. All
Valkyrie.
bikes rock except for Harleys.
Gabe, you're the best. I like, and if I like the Harleys, I like, how solid they are. Number of friends of mine ride. Got a couple of neighbors that have just gorgeous Harleys. They're beautiful bikes, and it's that rumble, that sound. The thing I like about them also is the upright seating position. When you get older, that is. But I love the fact that there is this yearly gathering of what is, okay, I'm going to put it this way. What I would say is conservative counterculture. Talked about counterculture back in the 60s and 70s being more liberal because of what was going on. But this is conservative counterculture. This is embracing so many things about America and about conservatism that really make this country great. And it's wonderful for the community to get together, to be a little rowdy, to not be crazy. But I also think that, it's kind of weird, but for Pete, he's not as religious as either you or I. But for him, I think this is like him visiting Mecca or going to the Vatican or, heading off to the temple in Utah. That's things like that. It's important. And it refills his bucket, and spiritually is not really the right word, but it does revitalize him and refreshes him because it puts him back in touch with a lot of his friends and a lot of things that he thinks are important. I think that's what a lot of people do. And why after 84 years, it's still going strong.
Circling back to the original question we had, what would you spend $10,000 on? The lady who spent $10,000 to go to the Olympics. Gabe wrote in, to answer your question, Billy, about riding, you're alone. It's just you, your bike, the smells, the weather, and the biggest thing is freedom. And speaking of freedom, Billy, I want to get into this just here towards the end of the show. There is a new book coming out tomorrow I am ecstatic about. I spent a good portion of yesterday on a train ride reading the reviews of it. In the New York Times, David French did a review of Neil Gorsuch's new book, Overruled. And it's about the human toll of too much law.
Oh, I saw something about this, a blurb. And
Yes.
and it was a thing about this. And I'm like, what? I thought it was an odd blurb. So now that makes sense because I didn't read the story. But the headline makes total sense now. Now I get where it was going.
Yeah.
It just would seem like an odd phrase for Gorsuch to have uttered. But now I see it's connected to the book. Okay. That's interesting.
So he's got this new book coming out. And basically, he is a judge. He's been a judge for 18 years of his life, dives into what has happened to our country with all the laws. And he gives this great example of a rabbit and a magician. And this is a true story. Okay. So the magician is performing around towns, right? He's doing his little magic trick, and sitting in the audience one time is this government official who approaches him and is like, do you have a permit for your rabbit?
Oh, geez.
And he's like, I need to have a permit for my rabbit. And he's like, yes, you need to have a permit for your rabbit because it is a show animal. Okay. So if you're a cat, if you're a dog, if you're an iguana, anything like that, you don't need to have a permit. But rabbits fall into a unique category of show animals that you need to have a permit for. Okay. So he's like, all right. So he goes and gets, this is a true story. He goes and gets the permit for his rabbit. And then in order to get the permit qualified, you have to have an emergency preparedness plan to keep your animals safe in case there was an emergency. So it's like basically if you're running like an industrial farm. So all of a sudden, this little magician with his little rabbit is forced into this category because of government rules and regulations to treat his rabbit as if it's part of this industrial farming operation.
I have a question, though, about the rabbits. We have a lot of rabbits in our neighborhood, and normally when there's an emergency, they run away.
Right.
What sort of emergency is the rabbit not running away from? I'm so curious.
Then he has to hire a guy to put together a 28-page plan on what he's going to do with an emergency preparedness plan for his rabbit because his rabbit falls into this little category. The guy points out that he could butcher the rabbit cook the rabbit in front of people, that wouldn't be a fine. But pulling it out of a hat and using it in a show puts him into these unique categories that he now has to follow. And basically, this is just one example, but what Neil Gorsuch is making the argument, this is why I'm so excited about this book, is like this, the only people that can benefit from a society with this amount of laws are the rich and wealthy and lawyers, right? Like it actually creates a system to where they get a privilege, they get a benefit because they're the only ones that can navigate it while the rest of us are just stuck dealing with it. And the reason, Billy, I get so fired up about this is I was in 8th grade. This is my foray into politics. This was the moment I got fired up into politics. This was when I got popped for a curfew ticket. And I was riding my bike home from a friend's house. Riding my bike home from a friend's house. The cop stopped me, put my bike in the back of his car, and then drove me home and then gave me a ticket for it. I mean, it was so over the top. I took my little pocket constitution, went down, fought it. Anyways, I'm excited about this book. I want to continue to talk about it. I want to talk about it tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow.
Just a question. Can the rabbit identify as a snake and then avoid the licensing? I'm asking for a friend.
There you go.
For a friend. Just curious.
Right. Look, with all the work I've had done to my teeth, and believe me, finding a good dentist makes all the difference. I'd like to talk to you about Dr. Mike and the Rocky Mountain Dental Group. He helps people like you and me feel amazing by providing the best dental care available. See for yourself all the 5-star reviews at RockyMountainDentalGroup.com. Here's one. I've been going there for over 20 years. Dr. Mike and his entire staff are outstanding. I like the fact that the same person always cleans my teeth. If you need an awesome dentist, Dr. Mike is your guy. If your gums are receding, it's critical to address this issue promptly. Dr. Mike is a top-tier expert in the Chow pinhole surgical technique. This method requires no cutting, no sutures, and virtually no downtime. The procedure involves making a small hole in the tissue and gently repositioning the gums. Schedule a free consultation with Dr. Mike to discover all the benefits of this revolutionary procedure. Call 303-233-1335 or visit RockyMountainDentalGroup.com. That's RockyMountainDentalGroup.com to book your free consultation today. We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Absolutely fire show today as we dove into the Tina Peters trial, as well as Peter Boyles joining us live from Sturgis. If you missed the show, check out the podcast. Cal Thomas and Charlie Kirk are up next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Have a good Monday.